Lady and gentlemen, start your engines. Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your Wasteland services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, welcome to Bartertown. No, not Bartertown. Wrong movie. Wrong part of the Wasteland. Welcome to the huge spoiler-rife review of Furiosa, a MAD MAX Saga. Yeah. Those of you who've been keeping up with the Kilt-Man channel will know I've covered this already. History man, always interrupting with bits of jargon and technology and mythology. Yeah, shut up! I've already covered in sort of non-spoiler sort of territory Furiosa. After watching it for the first time, I've now seen it 1, 2, 3 times, and I'm loving it more each time. I did go fairly deeply into it in the sort of earlier review. I've covered the soundtrack, I've talked about all the trailers, I've yacked on about it endlessly, but this is the big video now, the big one on the movie. Really deep dive, full throttle, full tilt, high octane, going for it. So if you haven't seen the film yet, my advice would be to go and watch it now. Go watch it now, and then come back and watch this. Otherwise, don't bother, because I'm going to go through the whole friggin' film for you. The whole friggin' fume. Anyway, 3 times now. I loved it more each time. It is truly a work of visionary genius. The box office sadly does not reflect that at the moment. It's opening weekend, which of course is a bank holiday in the UK. It's Memorial Day in the US. You would have thought there'd be huge box office takings, but you've got to remember that really none of the MAD MAX movies have actually made a lot of money sort of opening time. Fury Road certainly didn't do that, not initially, but they have tremendous shelf life. They are long lasting. They are perennial renters back in the day. You know, people are going to be downloading and streaming it, and they'll be buying the 4K of Furiosa without a doubt. Because, as I say, it is a visual work of art, a piece of visionary genius from George Miller, who owns high-octane vehicular mayhem movies. No one else can touch him. No one else could ever touch him. No one else will ever touch him. He is the Grand Master of carnage at high speed. And mythical world building as well. Now, Furiosa is a prequel to Fury Road. I mean, I know, a lot of this you're going to know already. But it's a prequel. Set several, 15 years before. No, it's whatever. See, the confusion begins already because timelines don't matter. You've got to remember that MAD MAX, the first one, made in 1979, that's set, a few years from now. It's just down the road, almost literally down the road. And a big societal and economic collapse takes place. MAD MAX 2, it's been some kind of world war. The gas wars, the gasoline wars and all that, the energy wars have taken place. Biker gangs have taken over the world, and it's a white line nightmare out there. It's chaos and anarchy. MAD MAX Beyond Thunderdome is several years afterwards. Max is meant to be hell of a lot older, but Gibbo wasn't that much older. It's about 3 or 4 years after MAD MAX 2. The Road Warrior for use stateside. But it doesn't really matter. Fury Road is set in a almost different alternate timeline, and Furiosa is set in it doesn't work with Fury Road in the actual timeline of things. It doesn't work out. But George Miller says, I don't give a shit about timelines, and nor should you. And it works because if you look at how these films are structured, barring MAD MAX, the first one, MAD MAX 2, The Road Warrior, is sort of bookended by narration by the feral kid, Emil Minty, the feral kid, who in the fullness of time grows to become leader the chief of the great northern tribe. And the road warrior, that was the last we ever saw of him. He lives now, only in my memories. It's a spoken saga being told to people about a legendary character. It's a fable, it's a myth, it's heroism, it's Beowulf. It's the Trojan Wars, it's Achilles, it's Hercules. It's that kind of mythology going on. The Man with No Name, exactly. You know, Kurosawa's samurai movies, it's mythology. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Savannah Nix basically tells the story. At the end, that's kind of what she's doing. She's reciting what you've just seen and who they met, and like they're doing the tell to bring all the other survivors back in, bring them back home again. Fury Road, it's its own sort of thing, really. It's two characters colliding together, but one of them has the story, and that would be Furiosa, Imperator Furiosa. There she be, right there, played by Charlize Theron, who does not return for this movie, we know. It's her story. Max just gets involved in it, but Max got involved with the Gucci Arabs in the Road Warrior and helped them out. Inadvertently got stuck involved in all that. He gets stuck involved with the folks and the people in the crack in the world in Beyond Thunderdome, and he inadvertently gets involved with Furiosa because he gets shanghaied and taken back to the Citadel. Gets his raggedy hair, all shaved off and tattooed up the wazoo and back and drained of blood because, we got a war boy running on empty, and you've got a Kilt-Man running on almost empty. Just as well, I've got something better than gasoline here. Cheers, y'all. Bottoms up. Don't worry, I'm going to take my time with this because I want to enjoy this like I've enjoyed what is the longest movie of the Mad Max franchise so far, at 148 minutes, and not a second too long. In fact, I could have had more time with these characters and the Wasteland because I enjoyed it so much, and the pacing I thought was fantastic. The action stunts, brilliant. The visuals, barring some dodgy CG here and there, but even that seems almost deliberate. Not like it's they couldn't even get that right. No, that's the finished article. That's what George Miller wants you to see. It's got a cartoonic comic book quality to it, like all the Mad Max films have had up until now. The rawness of Mad Max 1, 2 and 3 is still here, but he now has the ability with modern technology to really elaborate those landscapes, make them more vast, make more people on the screen and more chaotic, multiple stunts happening at the same time. But you've got to remove apparatus to make that happen. Undercranking, yeah, he's done that since Mad Max. So I've seen people complaining about that. Oh God, everything seems speeded up. It's undercranked, the footage and all that. He's always done that. That's been a trademark. That's a stock in trade visual trope that he's been bringing in since 1979. And I love it. So anyway, look, you know how much I love the movie. I've already said that. So let's do the deep dive now. Furiosa. Whatever timeline you want it to be in. Oh, I'll just finish off on the timeline thing. If you do it specifically and get the timelines right, Mad Max is actually not a road warrior. He's a road pensioner by the time he gets to Fury Road. He's in his 70s. So go figure. It doesn't matter. As I said before, these are fables told down through new societies, new civilizations, new tribes. They're not recorded visually, it's spoken, or it's tattooed, or it's cave paintings, or scribed away. That's how it's done. And these things always get changed in the telling. That's how legends and myths evolve and folklore takes place. So Furiosa, young girl, played by, and I gotta say this, Alia Brown, who's a British girl, and only young. What is she, about 12, something like that? And they live in the green place of the Many Mothers, which is a wonderful little location in the middle of a huge, vast, almost expanded Australia. if you look at the map, you know, the film opens with the history man giving a bit of a narration, and it zooms into his eye, and then we zoom into Australia. But Australia is much, much bigger, much vaster than it really is, and it's big and vast anyway. The implication being that after all the wars have taken place, and we hear about all these wars, the oceans have receded even further back, so it's even more of a landscape. So you're in the middle of the outback, so you zoom in on a place of abundance. It's green because they've learned they found a fertile land, and they've learned to propagate it and keep it going, sustain it. So there's a big bunch of settlers living there, and if you look at it, they've got wind turbines going, and they've got solar panels as well, and it all makes sense. And they're working away, toiling on the land, looking after each other, but making sure that no one from the outside can find them. But little Furiosa and her mate Valkyrie, who is fantastic in Fury Road, brilliant, but doesn't last anywhere near long enough. She's the Winchester rifle shooting, markswoman. During the final chase, she's outstanding. Well, the two of them are little girls, and they're out going a little bit too far from the beaten track. And there's like peaches and all sorts. I'm like, oh, let's just get that final peach. Look at it. Oh, let's take that one. Furiosa, we've gone too far. And they have gone too far, because just further on, which Furiosa can hear, there's something going on. There's a bunch of little biking marauders who are there, they've captured and caught and killed, and in the process of carving up a horse. Because these people, Furiosa's many mothers clan, what are they called? Vulvalini? Not vulva, that's wrong, isn't it? Buvalini. I knew I'd get that wrong. I knew I'd throw a vulva in there somewhere. Because they've got horses, and they've got orchards, and they've got prairies, they've got land to travel in. But you've got to keep it secret, keep it safe. So Furiosa knows, shit, these guys have found horses and trees and foliage and something that isn't barren rock and arid sand. Oh no, I've got to take them out. So she says to Valkyrie, stay there, just be quiet, stay there. And off she goes, just be a ghost, be a rock, just don't be seen or heard. And off she goes, and these bikes are there, and she's severing, the fuel cables, so they can't get anywhere. Idea being, I've got to stop these from going back to wherever they came from and telling whoever they work with where we are. But of course, she gets caught. I'm not gonna go through exactly scene by scene and moment by moment. God, we'd be here forever, and longer than the movie itself. But she does all this, but she gets captured. Now, there's a lot of harkbacks to the original movies, which I will go into. But she starts off here. She has a bosun's whistle. My young Wasteland protege here, Mr. Kentucky Fudge, has a bosun's whistle. And she blows this as a warning to all the tribe, the many mothers. There are blokes there as well. You can't be a mother biologically without a father being involved. So there's blokes there too. But she blows the bosun's whistle, and it's a vintage bosun's whistle. Mad Max uses the bosun's whistle in Beyond Thunderdome, because he works out that can distract Blaster of Master Blaster fame. So there's a nice hark back there using that, and there is that's the same model, nice vintage one. And although I've not seen it up close in Furiosa, I do believe it's the same thing. Oh, speaking of wet your whistle, don't mind if I do. Get a drink, you're going to need it. She gets captured, and she gets dragged off to meet Dementus, the Warlord, played by Chris Hemsworth. And of course, he is the leader of the biker horde, which is about, a couple of hundred strong. It's an immense encampment that she gets dragged back to. But in the meantime, her mother, Mary Jo Bassett, played by Charlie Fraser, is it? Yeah, Charlie Fraser, who is fantastic. She's amazing. With an SKS rifle, she goes off first on horseback and then charges after these guys who are planning across the sand dunes. Snipers them, takes one guy out who's riding the Thunder bike, takes him out, and in a great shot, he's catapulted through the air and he lands head first. It's almost like Wile E. Coyote or Bugs Bunny style. He ends up completely head first in the sand. So he's submerged up to the small of his back with his legs all broken in the air above him. It's great. These guys now realise that they're being pursued. There's a sniper there, but they've got the young Furiosa over the bike and they're heading back. But of course, MEDIOCRE, Furiosa's mother, will not give up. So she'll do some more sniping. She'll rectify the Thunder bike and go after them again. Do some more shooting. But they do get back to the camp, or rather, the last surviving one of the this recon group gets back there, and he wants to be the one to produce this child, this proof of a land of abundance, because they've just been there. Trees, foliage, water, horses, young girl, people, yeah. My lips, Dementus' ears. And you've got Dementus' first lieutenant, who's great. He is, what's his name? I'm gonna find him. Can't find him. No, I can't find him actually. That's bizarre. I wrote all the names down. Oh yeah. No, I'm wrong. I haven't got it. I haven't got his name. I'm really surprised by this. Because he plays 2 roles in it as well. Anyway, forgot his name. But he's only got one eye. One eye's been sort of chiseled out. Think that guy in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. You know, he turns around, they're on Helm's Deep, and his eye's been carved out. Well, that's this guy. Well, this guy also plays Immortan Joe, who we'll see later on, the younger version of Immortan Joe. And no. You give the girl to me and we'll take it to Dementus. And he's like, no. My lips, Dementus' ear. And he's like, and he rides off. But in the meantime, Furiosa has been biting through the fuel lead and all that. And then she manages to derail the bike and he comes flying off and gets dragged behind it and she tumbles off. So, but they catch it and they bring it into Dementus. Chris Hemsworth. Oh my god. He is the character for the ages as far as I'm concerned. One of the best villains that the entire franchise has produced, and it's had some good ones. The Knight Rider, the Toe Cutter, Wes, Lord Humongous, you know, Master Blaster, who turns out to be alright in the end, of course, Anti-Entity, Immortan Joe, and oh god, so many in Fury Road. But Dementus, Dr. Dementus, if you please. Although there's many variations on his psychology of his own persona, because this is a guy that's built himself up and is completely rogue and irresponsible, yet really literate, very articulate, but also really stupid and ego-driven. You've got to love the guy. I think he's amazing. Chris Hemsworth can do comedy, although when they let him off the reins, he was great in the otherwise completely turd-filled Ghostbusters redo, the female Ghostbusters. You know the one I mean. He was the best thing about that. But that wasn't exactly, the bar wasn't raised very high. And then of course, he made Thor very comedic, very enjoyable to watch. And but then after Thor Ragnarok, I've discussed this as well only recently. Ragnarok's great. Love and Thunder is tripe. Absolute pure panto, OTT rubbish. And sadly, you know, Hemsworth off the rails can be like that. Here, he's fantastic. He's threatening, he's ominous, he's brooding, he's dark, he's tremendously violent, but he's also intensely charismatic. Really, there's a lot of haunted backstory to him, which only gets hinted at, alluded to, but he conveys it beyond beyond that great big biblical beard, the long rangy hair, and that big prosthetic schnauzer that he's got on. Which when he first turns round, he's in a tent, and this lieutenant with the one eye brings Furiosa in. And he's listening to History Man at the time. History Man is tattooed up the wazoo and back. Now he's the fabled storyteller, but he knows things from the prior life. I think at the time he's telling Dementus about the engines. It's 50cc or whatever, 125cc, and it powers this and whatever he's telling about a bike that's there. So Dementus is learning because obviously History Man knows stuff, and they walk in with this child. So the first greeting you get to Chris Hemsworth is he turns around with his robes on. He's got a little teddy bear strapped to his back, manacled to his back, a little teddy bear. He turns around. The first thing you see is this great big, huge hooter, which is like, what? What are you doing? What were they thinking? Why did you do this? It's just a character thing, and it's also playing with the good looks of Chris Hemsworth. He's got really manky, audible teeth as well, which you don't really see too often, but when he does smile, they are pretty nasty. And it's this big schnoz. And it's like, well, what do we have here? It's a little kid. And he's got the organic mechanic, Angus Sampson, who was in Fury Road, working for Immortal and Joe. But in this, he initially starts off working for Dementus. And he's there and he checks her over. Oh, fingernails are good, you know, and the eyes are good. Oh, it's got good teeth as well. Like, where'd you find you? You know, it's healthy. This is a full life. Because we've entered the age of the half-life. Not the halflings. That's the Shire and Hobbits in the Middle Earth. But this is the era of the half-life. Everyone can't last. They're all irradiated and mutated. And there's a hell of a lot of mutations in this bloody movie. But so obviously Dementus is very interested. Where did you come from? But she won't speak. She's not going to tell anybody anything. Well, Toe Chum or Toe whatever found her. Well, where is he? Bring him in. I want to know what he knows. He's the guy that got taken off the bike and his throat's knackered. In fact, he's bleeding profusely from his throat. So like, well, you found the place, this place of abundance. Where is it? And he's bleeding out. So they hoist him upside down and go like, oh, clear the sand away. Right, just point. And they've got his hand and they're trying to make him point. He's fucking dying. But Furiosa starts kicking his head in. You're not giving the game away. Boot, boot, boot. Anyway, Dementus has dogs. He has a trio of I'm not sure what they are actually, because we have dog in Mad Max 2, which is a blue healer, an Aussie blue healer. He's here right now on his own tin of dog food, the Dinky D. There he is. And of course, we know he's great, but he becomes a cropper. He gets a crossbow bolt into him. But Dementus has dogs, and they look kind of like Rottweilers. But one's got like a prosthetic limb, a prosthetic leg, and it's hobbling around. It does pretty well, to be honest. Well, they end up getting this guy. But Dementus, like, I don't know, he starts acting really nicely to her. You know, like, listen, little one, you know, tell us where you live. Where are you from? I'll take you back. You've had a hard day. I'll take you back tomorrow. Take her, rest her, clean her, feed her, give her a drink of water, the good water, and then tomorrow we'll follow your tracks back. So of course she knows they are going to find us. But her mother is still outside. Oh yeah. And her mother manages to disguise herself as one of the biker horde, and a storm brews up. One of them big dust storms comes in, and she manages to take out a couple of guys using a slingshot made from, I'm not sure if it's from the spokes of a motorbike or it's from a hubcap, but it's something from a vehicle, without a doubt. And they're getting taken out. And one of the guys she takes out is another great cameo from Mad Max from 1979. Tim Burns, Johnny the Boy. Johnny the Boy is in Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. and he gets taken out. Obviously a lot older now, like, but it's Johnny the boy, through his head. Now they've got a woman there as well, and the woman's been looking after Furiosa, and she begs for her life as Mummy Furiosa comes in, like Mary Jo Bassa. No, don't. I'm a mother as well. I understand. I'm a mother. So foolishly, she lets her off the hook, but the two of them escape on a bike, get out of there. Dust storm's really kicking in. There's a fuel tank on the back of the bike, and Dementus comes out and, what's it? Where are they going? And a bullet hits the fuel tank, and it explodes and sets fire to Furiosa's mum, who's blazing, but they're cutting through the desert and through the storm. They're getting away. She manages to get off and roll around in the sand, but she's injured. But Dementus and his horde are in pursuit. So they find a deep gorge, and she's still got the SKS rifle, and she's a crack shot with that. She's a fucking amazing sniper. She is, yo. Gets into this deep gorge and says, like, look, Furiosa, get on the bike and just ride back. Follow the stars. Look at the star pattern, the star constellation. You've got to remember this constellation in the sky. Keep the stars there, and that'll take you back to the green place. But I'm going to stay here and I'm going to fight these off. Don't worry, I will find you. If it's like Last Americans, no matter how long it takes, no matter how far, I will find you. Stay alive. You've got that moment. And they do this thing, they sort of put one hand around the side of, your buddy's head or your daughter's head, and they put their heads together, and it's very, very touching. So Furiosa drives off on the bike, and like Mary Jo Bassa's there in this rocky chasm, and she's picking them off, runs out of bullets, fucking uses it, to slug them off, takes out plenty of these guys. She's a fucking badass. She is absolutely amazing. But Dementus goes like, we're all going there to get killed. Go round the other side. So she gets captured. And despite her warnings and like pleadings to Furiosa, just whatever you hear, just go back home. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just go. Don't come back. She hears screaming and the final gunshots, and she goes back. And they've crucified they've crucified Mary Jo Bassa to a tree, and she's being tortured. They're trying to find out, where did you come from? Where is this place? Because they're in the wasteland. It's arid desert. To be perfectly honest, you couldn't sustain an army like he's got on nothing, and you couldn't sustain the musculature that Chris Hemsworth has got out in the wilderness either. It's couldn't happen. Doesn't matter. There's ways and means. And in fact, we know that a bit of cannibalism does take place. So, but they're torturing Mary Jo Bassa. So Furiosa comes like, no! She's like, I gave you one job to do, to go home, to fuck off and go home and don't worry about me. Oh, you come back, will you? Oh no, stupid little bit. But anyway, these two don't give the game away, neither of them. Mary Jo Bassa will die, and they force Furiosa to watch. Dementus, who has a twisted compassion for this girl, mainly because he's lost his wife and a couple of kids, which we presume are two girls as well, which is why he carries his teddy bear with him, which is manacled to him or chained to him. It's always there with him, part of his elaborate costume. But he forces Furiosa to watch her own mother be tortured to death. And she starts crying. And he hasn't seen tears before. This is a bit strange. Kind of reminds me of Flash Gordon. Look, Father, water is dripping from my eyes. They call it tears. It's a sign of their weakness, says Ming the Merciless. and he sort of scoops a tear from her eye. And he's like, it's another great quote. He goes like, "History man, a word burger, please. A word burger." Meaning, explain this. So History man, who's played by, let's get this, George Shetsov, who does the opening and closing narration as well in the movie. He says like, tears, there's two kinds. There's one for joy, tears of joy, and tears of sorrow. Different chemical compounds for either. And of course this one's obviously sorrow. And he goes, this is Dementus. Piquant. Zesty. I like sorrow. It's pantomime. It's pure arch villain. It's comic book. It's cartoonish. But it's great. It's so highly OTT. And yet there is a lid on it. There's a ceiling on how far he goes. He could be completely OTT. But it gets brought back by the atrocities and the evil that he commits and the darkness that he broods. So it works in that capacity. So anyway, he's now got Furiosa and they keep it caged up, and we see sort of, you know, as a travelogue going on, we see a great shot of these escapees, other survivalists in vehicles heading towards a deep gorge, but they're completely harassed and surrounded by the biker horde led by, Dementus. People getting pinged off, long distance shot, dropping off vehicles, probably being driven over as well. And then the survivors are caught and rounded up, and their leader is chained between a bunch of bikes. He's spread eagled on the deck, and you know what's going to happen there. He's going to be quartered, basically. And like Dementus just says, like, look, you know, all you had to do was just stay with me. You had to go and run away. Why did you run away? I could have given you things, but now you have to do all this, and now you've got to watch what happens. But the thing is, they've only got 5 bikes left, and there's about, 15 of them. So his mate, Smeg, played by David Collins, this is another one of his lieutenants. Smeg comes up with all these vicious weapons, medieval weaponry, which is all made from car parts and bikes and machinery, all spiky, weird, chrome and nasty. And you can put down, think of the Joker in The Dark Knight, when he says like, it's tryouts, and they've snapped the pool cues in half, you know, and they've got this rival bunch have got to kill each other, and whoever survives will join the Joker's mob. It's that, and it's fucking horrible, and they're all fucking beating each other up. But one girl who gets her fucking face smashed in, like, and her mouth's over there somewhere, she ends up surviving, but this guy gets torn apart. And it's a dark, horrible sequence. It evokes memories of the Spartacus TV show, also filmed down under as well, where the sequence of decimation, where a Roman legion has failed to capture Spartacus, and they are made to the ritual of decimation, where out of the cohort, every 4th man step forward, and then the rest will have to kill them using fists, swords, knives, whatever, bludgeons, rocks, and they get beat. These guys get beaten to a pulp. It's fucking horrible, and the Romans did do that. It was a major punishment, and like to show the rest of the troops and the other legions, don't fuck up, because this is what happened to you, and friend will have to kill friend, as happens in Spartacus in this horrible sequence. And this reminded me of that, having to go and kill your own people. Anyway, if you hear some slurping going on, it's Roxy the husky is cleaning her bits over there right now. I do apologise. You're lucky it's not me cleaning my bits. Cheers, y'all. So, but he makes, this time he says to Furiosa, look, you don't have to watch this. This is where the guy's going to be quartered. You haven't got to watch this. He goes, here, take this, and he gives her the teddy bear. Take that, you know, and you can shut your eyes, you don't have to look at this. But she does, but she drops the teddy bear out of the stockade, the mobile stockade that she's in, drops it with a clang on the deck, it's covered in chains and all that. So then another travelogue will take place. History Man will say to her, look, make yourself invaluable to him, and Dementus will protect you. And he's trying to teach her things, and she's seen him tattooing stuff, stories of the world, you know, Pythagoras and all this kind of crap all over his body. And she knows the star pattern, looks at the star pattern, and gets the star pattern, the constellation, tattooed on her arm. Alright, now you've got to remember, in Fury Road, she's missing half an arm, isn't she? Yeah, and it will be that arm, which is why she couldn't find her way back to the green place. Didn't know exactly where it was. Oh, raced ahead there, haven't I? But this bond between her and Dementus will increase, but it's very one-sided. She kind of has to like go along with what's happening and witnesses even more stuff, obviously. But his bond with her, he sees her as his child, his surrogate child. So he's took her under his wing, he's looking after her. But more atrocities are being committed. And these guys, in their maraudings around the wasteland, will encounter a war boy. Yes, a war boy. Oh, completely, chalked out, the black eyes, and he's wandering around in his black combat kecks, but he's lost and alone. And he's got like a crossbow bolt in his head, a quarrel right in his head. And he's like, and he stops this armada of bikes. Now, I'm going to say right now, Furiosa harks back to, obviously, all the other Mad Max movies. But really, the best is Mad Max, the first one. It's a revenge drama, completely revenge driven. But also, it shows you all these bikes. And it reminds so much of the toe cutter, Hugh Keays-Byrne, who played Immortan Joe in Fury Road, but sadly died, and is replaced in this by Lackey Hume, who plays Immortan Joe. That's the guy who plays the main lieutenant, the one-eyed lieutenant. It was at the top of my list of cast members. I couldn't believe why couldn't I find that before? I put him at the friggin' top. Lackey Hume plays Immortan Joe, and he plays Rizdale Pell, who's the one-eyed lieutenant with raggedy hair as well, and bandanas and all sorts of great gypsy costume he's wearing. But they find this guy anyway, and he's like, and this horde. Sorry, what I was saying there. I know I go off on tangents, but I'm reining myself back in, trying to anyway. It reminds of the Toe Cutters gang, Hugh Keays-Byrne playing Toe Cutter, and his biker gang marauding around, the dregs of Aussie society in the wake of economic collapse. And they ride up in towns and bikes and all that, loads and loads of bikes. Well, Dementus and his biker horde is that, but on biblical proportions. Fucking thousands of these bastards by now. And they're crawling through the wasteland. This red, hellish wasteland. It's like Monument Valley, but just hellish. It's red, and it's fantastic. They're plowing down this trail, and they see like a red flare go off in the sky, and they're like, what's that? And Dementus rides a chariot driven by 3 motorbikes, and he has reins which control the motorbikes. I don't know how that works. My brother is, he was an RAF mechanic. He's built Harley Davidson bikes himself. He's had the parts shipped to him and built the bikes. He's an ex-speedway race driver. He's a pure engineer, chemical engineer and mechanical engineer. Knows his stuff. I'll have to ask him, how feasible is that to operate 3 bikes while standing on a chariot? I don't know how it works, but it does, and it's great. It's a great visual, flourish. But he sees flare go off, and I'm like, Dementus, what's that? Let's go and have a look. So they veer off, and they find this lone war boy with the bolt in his head, and he's like, is this Valhalla? Valhalla, and And like Dementus is Chris Hemsworth is great. He's like Valhalla, Valhalla, and like history man, Valhalla, a place where the bravest, the slain brave, go to rest and drink and carouse forevermore. It's not what he says, but you know what Valhalla is, the Hall of Heroes. And it's like, well, where are you from? The Citadel, the Waterdell, the Citadel, a place of Citadel, a place of abundance, says history man. You know, abundance? What's abundance? It's got everything there. You know, it's got water, it's got trees, it's got grass, it's got food. You know, everything. It's got milk. We're off to the Citadel. Show us where the Citadel is. So Dementus and his horde arrive at the Citadel, Immortan Joe's, you know, twin-peaked palace. And they lay claim to it. They drive up en masse, straight into the middle of this gorge, this, you know, deep mountainous cavern, and just say like to everyone, look, bring out your leaders, throw them down, because they've subjected you to like poverty and this, that, and the other. You know, they're in charge of your lives. You join with me, and let's kill them, and we'll take over Citadel. Basically, is what he's saying. And you'll live with prosperity. We'll share everything with you. Throw your leaders down. Where are you? He has an old school boxing microphone. You know, it comes down. Hence, ladies and gentlemen, you know, and all this sort of stuff. Like he's just tremendous with it. He's like mouthing off through this thing, and we meet Immortan Joe and the People Eater and Rictus Erectus, played by Nathan Jones, and Slit. Slit was, hang on, let's get his name. Josh Holman, who was Slit in Fury Road, the one that actually drives Mad Max's Interceptor after it's been completely modified, jacked up at the back and chromified. He was Nicholas Holt's buddy, but they become arch enemies. Like, well, he plays Scrotus. So you've got Rictus Erectus, Nathan Jones, who was in Fury Road, and you've got Scrotus. Now Scrotus is in the game. The game is there, somewhere there. A little aside here now. People have been saying about the game. George Miller says the game's not canon to this whole franchise. That's what George Miller says. But so many elements and characters and stuff from the game is in Furiosa. Well, the people who made the game had access to all the copious notes and ideas that George Miller wrote when he made Fury Road. He wrote Furiosa at the time. And he wrote The Wasteland as well, which is Mad Max's prequel story to Fury Road. We'll come on to that, I'm sure. I've mentioned it before. But so all those notes became available to the makers of the game. So they incorporated them. So people are saying, oh, well, no, George Miller's copied what the game did. No, the game took the ideas that George Miller wrote for this. He did it first. Obviously he did it first. They got it from him. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. That was worth repeating. And so Scrotus is in the game quite. He's one of the huge villains in the game. Great character. And so he's there. And he's got all mutations. Rictus has got mutations. Although it's the big, towering, muscular Nathan Jones. Scrotus wears a kilt as well. A leather kilt. Yeah. I think I said in a previous video, I've got a leather kilt which was given to me. No, I ain't wearing it. No, I wear tartan kilts. That's it. But I wear a vast amount of different tartan kilts. But I'm not going to wear a fucking leather one. Not even as cosplay for this. But they all appear up on their cave entrance promontory, looking down on them, a fucking multitude of people. All the residents, obviously, the down and outs, what are they called? The wretched of the Citadel, who are all there, and gazillion bikers, they're all there. I'm like, we're going to take you down. You can't defeat us, says Dementus. And like the people eaters there, again, played by, is it John Howard? John Howard, yeah, plays the people eater, who was in the original Fury Road. He's back again. You don't see his big balloon feet though. And he's got these big swollen feet, and like, oh god, and you don't see him in this. But he's got his nose monocle. He's got like a fake prosthetic nose, like a monocle. And like his nose has been eroded by radiation and mutation and all that, like leprosy, whatever. But he's there, and he's like, no, you fools! You can't. So my dog's choking on her own fare there. And he's like, you fools, you know. Choose one of the war boys, because the war boys all amass themselves, and it's brilliant. The Citadel looks incredible, and you do see a lot more of the Citadel and its inner workings and its outer workings as well. A lot of things are very sort of airborne and aerial, cranes and stuff, and just tons and tons of mechanics and stuff taking place. All the war boys are amassed across these gantries and along the cave, sort of cave pathways. And he's like, choose one. And like, it's Smeg. Dementus goes like, well, I'm not going to choose one. You know, I'll have one of my men choose one. You know, you. So Smeg comes up and he goes, you, there. And this war boy walks forward and he goes, no, to the right. This other guy strides forward. He's been selected. Think Conan the Barbarian and Thulsa Doom. That is strength, you know. What is steel compared to the power of flesh? When that poor girl jumps off and goes fucking crashing through all the wooden, I don't know, stockade thing that she lands on. That's strength, boy, not steel. Same thing happens here, but a bit more fiery. And obviously he strides forward with two thunder sticks, and it goes, you know, with the chrome spray on his gob and all that, like, because they're awaited in Valhalla. And indeed, Immortan Joe just goes like, you are awaited. And you've got these two wires that go right the way across the chasm. He manages to leap up and join the two thunder sticks and slide down, and they're all watching. Comes off, and like, witness me! Boom! You're all fools. Every single one of these will do that. And we've got thousands more. So fuck you! You know. War begins. And Dementus loses big time. These guys are coming out. They've got like fucking bizarre hooks and cranes and winches. And they're dragging up the bikes with people on them. They're smacking people off the bikes. They're blowing things up. Dementus almost loses Furiosa. You've got the people that live, all the denizens of the Citadel who are not part of Immortan's proper elite and his army of war boys and the wives and all the entourage that go along with all that. They live in the just warrens and burrows in the ground like jackrabbits, you know. And they begin to drag, you know, Furiosa down, like, but like Immortan Joe was like, no, not Immortan Joe. Dementus is like, oh no, I'm having you. And a great big battle takes place. He manages to save Furiosa and he gets away from there. But they fucked up, you know. He went in there full of bravado and they lost. The Citadel is stronger, without a doubt. But they realised, they haven't gone too far. They realised that, look, hang on. You've got, that's one warlord there. That's the Citadel. That's one encampment. Got a place over there. And a place over there. Gastown is there. Got to fuel the war boys and their machines, their cars, their whatever. And you've got the bullet farm is over there. So Dementus gets a plan together. All right, look. There's a war rig going to Gastown. Right. Okay, boys. Let's go shopping. So they attack the war rig and on its way to Gastown. And it comes out of Gastown. They attack it on the way back. They attack it on the way. I think they attack it on the way back, and they take it out on the way back. And it's a victory war boys are being slain left, right and centre. And what Miller does in this movie, there's a lot of action scenes are seen from afar. Oh, you get them up close. Don't worry about that. Massively up close and painful. But you get lots of distant shots, which is a nice touch. It's showing, lots of people are looking from promontories and sand dunes and watching things happen. So you're seeing this carnage, which is genuinely happening. The stunts are there, but from a distance. So it's a nice sort of take a step away, and you can see the geography of things, and it's more, in a way, it's more realistic. Because when you witness accidents or things happening, you tend to be from a distance, unless you happen to be sadly caught up in it. So it's like, what? That just crashed over there? It kind of shows you from a dislocated perspective. And I like that, because it gives a whole new dimension to all the action and the mayhem. Well, they capture the war rig, and it's like, okay, look, it's been a great day. It's been a great, this is Dementus, what we did there was great. Want to see something even greater? I've got a better idea. And like, so he gets, now, at this point, I should bring in, there's another faction of Dementus has got many factions in his army. And you have Octobos and his, his mortar flyers, they're called. These are bikers. Octobos they all wear black and face masks. He has antlers attached to his helmet. That sounds quite painful, doesn't it? Although, for some ladies, that might be quite exciting. I don't know. But he has antlers attached to his helmet. And he's great. He's played by Goran Klut. Goran Klut. Yeah, I don't know who he is either, but he's great in this. Cheers, y'all. Cheers, Goran. So the idea is, look, I'm going to dress up some of your men as war boys. The whole pasty face stuff, the black eyes and all that, like, take the tops off and ball the heads and just paste them down in white, have them driving the war rig, and like as if they're in trouble. So they populate the war rig, they're on the top of it like all the war boys are, like the thundersticks and all that, the defensive crew, and they're driving back. And you've got, obviously, the people eater is the mayor of Gastown, but he's not there at the time. He's with Immortan Joe. But you've got this other guy who's the protector of Gastown, and you've got the observer on the big gates, and he's like, hang on, they're coming back. Why are they coming back? And they've got a phone, and he actually manages to phone the protector, who's busy doing Picasso paintings, big, friezes and, on the ceilings and all that. He's copying from textbooks, he's painting all these things, and he gets the call. They're coming back, but something seems wrong because no one's getting hurt, seemingly, and Dementus realises this, and here's a crucial element. Dementus realises, look, they're not buying it. They're not buying that we're coming back, because the idea is to go back in like the truck is the normal war boys. They'll open the gates, it'll go in, Trojan horse style. I just leapt ahead there now, but it's kind of obvious if you think about it. It's like they're not buying it, not going to open the gates. So, right, going to make it more realistic. So he starts killing the war boys, the fake war boys. And who are these guys? These are the guys that work for Octobos. Octobos, not Octopus. Octobos. And like, he starts killing them. And they're using flamethrowers as well, and they're burning it. A lot of people get burned. A lot get incinerated. It's fucking horrible. But a lot of people go under wheels as well. Oh, it's pure carnage. And like, Octobos is like, Dementus, you're scum! You're scum, Dementus! Because he's killing his men, to make it more believable. And of course, this guy goes, oh, no, it's real. They're definitely in trouble. Open the gates. So they open the gates, they go in there, and of course, it's a fucking Trojan horse. Once they're in there, a little hatch gives way, and tons of Dementus' men have infiltrated and take over. and they've got Gastown, basically. They took Gastown. This sequence is very reminiscent of the Road Warrior, Mad Max 2, when Max drives the rig back into the Gucci Arabs encampment in the refinery, and they shut the gates again. The school bus drives back and covers the gates, and you've got the oh god, the Ronnie Barker lookalike with the pink beard, pink hair, and pink Chevy Cadillac, fucking whatever it is, like, and he's like, "Arr!" And the flamethrowers get turned on him. It's very similar to that, where they get trapped by the gates, they're getting taken out. Very similar to that, and but they took over Gastown. So next thing you know, Smeg arrives at the Citadel, and you've got the guys who are walking on the treadmill, which operates so many different bits of machinery, but mainly the big elevator that goes down to the ground, and then whoever is allowed to come back in, war rig or whatever, a vehicle, lots of people, supplies can get brought up, and that's come down. And Smeg is like, got a message from Dementus. This is for Immortan Joe, and he fucking hails it on. Could have been a bomb, couldn't we think about it? Could have been a bomb. Bombs do get used in this. Explosives do get put on buildings and vehicles and whatnot. Dynamite and all this kind of stuff. So you thought these guys would have gone like, fuck that, but they don't. They take it on board, and he opens it up, and it's the finger of the guy who was doing the painting, the guy in charge, the protector of Gastown. And the message is like, look, I've took over Gastown, so fuck you guys. I'm Dementus. Yeah. The guy you fucked off earlier. Well, now what? I've got a plan. I want X amount of fuel, X amount of I'm in charge of the fuel. You want fuel. I want supplies, weapons, bullets. I want my cut of everything. So they have to agree to it. Immortan Joe and Rictus and Scrotus have to agree to it, like. So this becomes the sort of thing that's happening. But they have a meeting as well. Because it isn't just the finger of this guy that arrives. Because I think he says, like, I want a meeting first and we'll discuss terms. So Dementus arrives at the Citadel. He's allowed in with the organic mechanic, with Furiosa as well. Who's still a young girl at this stage. Sorry, I know it's called Furiosa, and I've barely even mentioned her, but she's there throughout all of this. But and she's still not Anya Taylor-Joy. She hasn't seeged into her yet. She's still a young girl, and they arrive there, and they've got this protector of Gastown who's lost a finger and all that, like. And they've got him rigged up to this fucking contraption carted in there with a great big harpoon to the back of his head. And Dementus is in charge of it. He's like, I can't hold it much longer. And he's got like a chain gone through his nipples, both nipples, which is anchored to this. You've got to agree to this. And this guy's going, agree. Immortan Joe, just agree. And Immortan Joe's going like, hang on, who's that there? He's pointing to Furiosa. Oh, that's my daughter. Yeah. It's like, well, she's very pale. He goes, you're very pale. There's such great humour in it as well. Like, you're very pale. And he's like, well, and organic mechanic goes like, well, I've been draining her of blood. I make blood pie. The boys need their protein. And I was like, what fucking hell? Are you doing that? Are you draining this young girl of her blood to make food for the masses, for the armies? Well, apparently so. And but Immortan Joe wants her because you know why? Because she's fit, healthy, young, probably very fertile, and he's got his wives who can't produce a proper, good, full life male. They're all girls, or they're half lives. They're shite. It's hinted at why they're such shite. Well, it's kind of obvious. Immortan Joe's a fucking mutant himself, so his seed ain't the best. Speaking of seeds, I should have said earlier that Furiosa's mother, Reggio Bassa, has given a peach seed, a peach stone. So if you keep that, puts it in her hand and folds her fingers over it. keep that. That is important. Because she puts it in her hair, she braids it into the back of her long hair. And so, who's that? Pale, all that kind of stuff. I'll agree to your terms. Oh, sorry, I should say that this guy does get the harpoon through his head. And Dementus gets his nipples ripped off. It's like, oh! And they're gone. But what an idiot. Why do that in the first place? And this guy's, he's been killed. And so like, look, we've got a deal or what? You've got a deal. But I want him, meaning organic mechanic, because I need someone like him who's a surgeon, a biologist, you know, he can work with flesh and understand things. Want him. And I want her. Now he's already explained, you know, who is this girl? It's my daughter. Doesn't look like you. He's got a big fucking nose and all that, like. And of course she's still mute, she's not speaking. And he's like, look, no, her mother was a strong woman, which she was, of course. And the poor girl had to witness that. She's traumatized, hasn't spoken since. But it's my girl, my daughter, and she's great, and I'm keeping her. No, I'll have the organic mechanic, and I'm having her as well. Girl, is he your father? And she says, she speaks for the first time in ages, no. Sorry, my dog is now growling at me. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. This is Kilt-Man. This is Kilt-Man. The dog needs to go out, she's growling now. Got to attend to the minions, you know. There's jobs to be done. There's a husky that needs walking. And I'm busy with you guys. So another little slug of this. It's going down pretty well. Yeah, her mother was great. Her mother was a warrior, a fighter. But she had to witness her death. It was always terrible. I know, it's an abomination. Which he did, of course, like. And, but yeah, he's not my father. Right. So off she goes to join Immortan Joe. And of course, she's got the teddy bear. And like, Dementus comes back and grabs her, I'm having that, you know. So he takes over Gastown, and he's now in charge of one of the most important places, Gastown. That's where the refineries, they're making, you know, ka-chung, ka-chung, ka-chung. The gasoline comes from there. It's a vital place. But he ain't very good at it. And seemingly, he has lots of mutinies, and you've got to remember that there's people that live at these different sites. You've got the people who are working for Immortan Joe, the warlords, and their armies and cohorts who are looked after. But there are other survivors who are there, populations who are there, and they're downtrodden. So at this point, I should say, well, time transpires, and Furiosa, she meets the wives, because she gets taken in by Immortan Joe, and like, it's like, right, like, you're going to be okay, don't worry, because like, I've got ideas for you. And off she goes to meet the wives in that great big vault, and it's a lovely, you know, it's a lovely sort of I don't know, Greco-Romano sort of stylized paradisical little place, high-rise apartment on the side of a mountain, and all the wives are there. Furiosa will witness the birth of one of Immortan Joe's new kiddywinks. Is it a boy? And like, organic mechanic is now working for him. He's like, and he's doing the same thing you saw, oh god, in Fury Road. You know, another month could have been your viable human being, you know, and it's dead. But it was a boy, and it was perfect. And Rick, this is Fury Road. Rick, this was like, I had a brother. I had a baby brother. No. And he was perfect in every way. That's what huskies do. See, chaos and anarchy led by huskies Where was I? So yeah, in Fury Road, I had a brother, I had a baby brother, and he was perfect in every way. But of course, in this, you get a similar sequence, and he's got the umbilical cord and he's twining it around, but it's a girl. Obviously, Immortan Joe wants boys, and it's a girl. And he's like, no. And the poor mother, the wife, is like, no, give me another chance. I can give you a boy. I can give you a boy. No, 3 strikes and out. And that's it. She's doomed. I've got to try to put this back up again now. They're waving to me now, but they can have that, the one-fingered wave. Should we try and put this up? Should we see if I can make this work? Because this might not work, but... Whoa! Kilt-Man, and your lack of practical skills. Let's see if we can do this. Whoa. I think that's precarious, to say the least. Let's move that around so we can get all the Charlize Theron's baldy noggin in. So yeah, we've now learned about the wives and all that in the Citadel. So what happens next? Well, you can see that Rictus is very interested in Furiosa. He's playing with her hair, and he's very interested in her. And you kind of get the impression that, look, you've been doing some raping on the side, have you not? Because all these kids are coming out a mess, and or looking like you, or Scrotus. You had Corpus Colossus, and again, the guy who played him, he had many conditions. A little fella, the telescope in Fury Road, he didn't survive. He died not long after Fury Road came out, in fact, about a year maybe. And but he's not made reference to, and he's one of Immortan Joe's kids, but again, it's just not referenced. So you got Scrotus, you got Rictus, and but anyway, Furiosa witnesses this birth and what happens to the mother, and does a runner. You know, I'm not getting involved in this. Like, don't like this at all. So runs away, but Rictus is like watching and like, oh, I'm interested in her. So Furiosa she's got long hair, but she as time goes by, she knows he is a pure pedo. So she's got this peach stone, this peach seed. So what she does, she cuts her hair off completely. How she does it, but keeps it as a wig and puts the hair back on, and keeps it, knowing that at some point he's going to molest her again, which he does, and he's playing with her hair, and she just runs away beneath the barn, beneath the wig, runs away. She's got the seed and all that, runs away. He chases after her. She gets some grease and wipes it on her head, like the war boys always do, and then hides in the shadows, throws the wig. She catches the wig. She throws the wig away onto a tree, a little tree branch out the top. This is a wonderful little touch, this, showing time going by. It's an outcropping of a tree branch right at the top of the Citadel, and the wig goes out on that. And the wig, you'll see that time, the sun passes, the moon passes, storms in the background. Goes by, and it blossoms. It becomes a huge protuberance of foliage, high-rise foliage. No, we're not going to that bit yet. And that's from the finale of the movie. And so she's grown older now. CGI comes into play here. Aelia Brown will be CG'd during some of these sequences to look more like Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays the adult pre-Charlize Theron version of Furiosa. So an hour almost has gone by, and you've been in the presence of Aelia Brown as Furiosa, And she's magnificent, folks. She is. She's genuinely, doesn't say a great deal. But then again, Furiosa's only got 30 lines of dialogue in the film. So there you go. Doesn't say a great deal, but conveys so much rage, sorrow, anger, and a fostered hatred for Dementus. Dementus, who's now in charge, of course, of Gastown. So now times have moved on, and she's been disguising herself. Her hair's grown back, but she's managed to keep it under a hood. She's got the pale face and all that, and she's meant to look like one of the war pups. And she's gone through the ranks. A big disaster takes place in Citadel where they're raising vehicles again, and like some guy falls to his death. They've got to save the contraption. I need someone small, to do it. Like, you do it. And this poor wretched guy but he moves out the way of a smaller person, Furiosa. No, you boy, you do it. So she has to do these incredible aerial acrobatics and swinging up and down chains, 30,000 feet in the air or whatever the hell it is, like, and really giving it loads and saving the vehicles. And when she comes back up top, you're going to be, is it doorman or something like that? Meaning they wear like a sort of an inquisitor sort of leather mask with big leather gloves, and they're in charge of all the guys on the treadmill, which operates the elevator. So the doorman, literally, and he takes the gloves off this doorman like that, and it's good because it will hide the tattoo that she's done of the constellation on her arm. Like Rictus did get quizzed over like, why are you out here, when she first ran off and evaded him, and he's like, well, I thought I saw someone. Who? I thought I saw someone running away. Oh, it must have been a dream. It's always the best way. It's a dream. So, and that was years ago. But she now, Furiosa, moves up the ranks of the war boys and gets involved in the whole, Valhalla thing and like all this, bow down to Immortan Joe and all that. And they do like a chant and all that, but she's not doing it. She won't say Immortan Joe, Immortan. And Rictus is going like, why aren't you saying it? Why aren't you saying it? And like, but she won't speak. And he's a mute. He's a mute. This is Anya Taylor-Joy, or rather, it could still be the younger girl, but with the sort of CG enhancement. But the eyes are there. It's Anya Taylor-Joy, and you'd be like, that's not a fucking boy. That's Mr. Magoo. Those eyes are incredible. But Rictus kind of, that's one about you. But he gets stopped by Scrotus. Gets grabbed by Scrotus. We've all been grabbed by the Scrotus, haven't we? And then you've all got eyes like Anya Taylor-Joy. Have you not? But she learns the ropes and all this. And the thing about Gastown's gone to rack and ruin because of Dementus can't rule the people. There's rebellions and mutinies taking place. It's chaos there. So now we get introduced. They're building a war rig, and it's a proper big war rig. This is going to be the best, the biggest. What did he call it? The biggest grunge in the wasteland. And it's going to be bigger, faster, stronger. It's going to be all these things and super chrome. You look at it. You look at this beast. It has chrome mosaics all the way down the sides of its flanks, and this depicting war and almost like Greco art of Achilles and stuff, and all these heroes. But it's like thunder sticks, and it's the wasteland warfare depicted, and it's gorgeous to behold. Look inside the cab of the war rig, and again you've got that in Fury Road as well. And it ain't the same war rig, by the way, but you've got like intricately composed and designed three-dimensional artwork on the roof of the inside of the cab. It's an incredible design. So you meet Praetorian Jack, Tom Burke, who I've always said it was fantastic in the BBC's sort of 2013, 2015, 16 maybe, dramatisation of the Three Musketeers, and he played Athos, a troubled, brooding hero, and he was fantastic in that, and he's great in this. Now Praetorian, you know, an imperator and all that, like it's very Romanesque as well. It's very mythological, very historical, and he plays Praetorian Jack, who's Immortan Joe's prized driver of the war rig, going between Gastown and the Bullet Farm. Dressed in leathers, got a rather minuscule shoulder pad on. Not your Mad Max shoulder pad like this one, but it's there, and it's a visual sort of metaphor, a visual sort of homage, harking back. And he's great. His Aussie accent's pretty good as well. As I said, this is definitely Australia. I don't know why I'm endorsing this, because I've never thought for one second that the entire odyssey of all these movies was not Australia. It's been purely Australian from start to finish. The dialogue, the jargon, everything is Australian. I know Fury Road was filmed in Namibia, but that doesn't fucking matter. It's meant to be Australia. But I know in recent times, since Fury Road, in fact, people are going, oh no, it could be happening anywhere. It's not actually specifying. Well, this film massively specifies that by that huge blowout or zoom in to the Australian landmass increased by land because the oceans have receded. So it's Australia, and the fucking dialogue is pure Australian, and the accents are pure Australian. And Tom Baek does a great Australian accent. Again, he's not got a great deal of dialogue. Nobody has. George Winner doesn't like dialogue. He said, I don't like using it. It slows the film down. I like to tell things visually. I have no truck with that at all. I think it's fantastic. And but the dialogue is great. The only guy who speaks a lot is, well, apart from myself, is Dementus. But all of his dialogue's priceless. Anyway, so she sees this guy, and it's now Anya Taylor-Joy. She's grown now, and that's who she is. But she's still disguising herself. And right, we're going out to the Gastown or the Bullet Farm, or wherever the hell they're going. I can't even know. And where are they going? They're going. No, they're going Gastown. Yeah. They're going. Sorry, folks. It's so hard to. A lot happens in this movie. A lot of it, as the critics are saying, once you don't like it, it's just people traveling from one place to another, then back again. One place to another, then one. It's just travel, and things happen on the way. Yeah, it is. It's Mad Max. Although, yeah, it's a Mad Max saga. It's the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Everyone's driven by, a frenzy in vehicles and the gasoline and marauders. That's what it is. That's what you want, and that's what you get in spades. So they drive out there. He's going to it's Gastown with supplies for them, and but en route it's all gone tits up because Octobos and his what are they called again? Oh shit! The Mortar Flyers. He's the guy that his band of people who Dementus made look like war boys as a decoy, and then killed them. He goes like, "You're scum, Dementus, you're scum." He's in the mean. You don't see it, but he's obviously like fucked off and left them and formed his own faction, his own rival faction. Well, they attack the war rig. Now, this is the big 15-minute sequence, the central part of the movie, and it took 78 days to film, with 200 stunt people on set, on location, every single day, and it's tremendous. It is. Let's play it. In fact, I'm playing Tom Holkenborg's score for Furiosa, which I've reviewed separately, but I still can't believe all that came crashing down. thanks to a four-legged fiend. And they get attacked by Octobos and his hordes. They're on bikes, and they've all got elaborate headgear as well, and they're giving it loads. One guy gets to the back of a bike and skates for a bit. He skates behind the bike, and then his parachute comes off, and they become paragliders. Now, I said this in my non-spoiler review. This is, look, I'm saying this, but no one else has done so that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of reviews of this. You know, Hamas attacked Israel October 7th, 2023, and caused untold atrocities. Look, we're not going to get into that, but in this country, if you go on a pro-Palestinian parade, protest march, and you have the emblem of a paraglider, you should be arrested. And many people have, I say many, a few have been arrested for doing it, because it's celebrating that. And the bizarre thing is, how many films have you seen in recent years where you've had paragliders with people with Heckler and Koch, you know, submachine guns attacking something? Well, not many. And straight after that, you get this. But George Miller filmed it way before all that. This was filmed in 2022, most of it, and then a bit in 2023, and all the post stuff took place. So he wasn't copying that. That, if anything, copied this. Although Hamas surely didn't know about that. But I was uncomfortably aware of the similarities. But these guys are amazing. So what you get is this stunt sequence, 15-minute sequence of them attacking the war rig. And you've got Furiosa is now, she's learning what she thinks is enough to get away. And she's underneath the war rig. No one knows she's there. She's underneath it. She's the stowaway. And the attack begins. Airborne, vehicles, motorbikes, thundersticks, war boys fighting. People are landing on the war rig, and there's people getting chopped left, right, and centre. Flamethrowers are going left, right, and centre, and it's just people are being incinerated, going under the wheels all the time. Furiosa's there, and like bikes are going underneath, and she's like, whoa! People are on fire going underneath, and she's like, fucking hell, you know. A big block of dynamite gets stuck on, and she's like, shit! She's got to cut the wire. So she's there. You've got like a black thumb, the mechanics, the mobile mechanics go underneath. Engine 2's gone, and it's Tom Beck driving it. Tom Beck is amazing. He's rehashing Mad Max 2, with the finale of Mad Max 2, the tanker chase. That's this, but this is that on steroids, super steroids, and it goes on, say, for a little bit longer than the tanker chase. But people are getting shot out the sky. They're getting wrapped up under the wheels. They're dragging people off the bikes who are pulling them. You know, these are like, you know, they're paragliders and the parachutists. They're getting dragged off the bikes and all that. Like Tom Bear has got his don't know if you can see it there. The double-barreled sawn-off shotgun, boomstick. It's leaning out, pure Mad Max style, fucking blowing people away. People are going for the windshields. You've got Quagelin Blake. What's his name? Quagelin Bales, who was the 13-year-old lad who was massively bullied in school in Australia, and he's wonderful. He plays a war pup, and they've got on the back of this war rig the Bommy Knocker, and the Bommy Knocker is like, do you remember the film Journey to the Centre of the Earth? And it's like a big drill and goes through the ground. You've got that in chrome on the back of this, the war rig. But it's got medieval maces with spikes on them, so it spins them round. So it'll take out pursuing vehicles, bikers, whatever, but it'll take out people in the air as well. And you've got Quagelin Bales as this war pup. And he's like, he keeps saying like, now, do it now. And they go, no, not now. Wait. But all the war boys are getting picked off left, right, and centre. The attack's coming in. People are zooming down. People are going underneath, and like Furiosa's got to fucking kick these people off. mechanic gets killed. So, but there's a fuel leak. You gotta get that fuel leak sorted out. Put a new little pump in there. So she will prove herself, and then you've got Octobos himself comes in, and he has these trailing ribbons of black behind his paraglider, and he's not attached to a motorbike. He's got two Heckler and Koch MP5s. He's like giving it loads, and you've got the Warlord going, now, do we do it now? And suddenly Furiosa, who's come to the fore, she's beaten off a few of these marauders, and she's like, yeah, now, do it now. But he shoots, and it's a hatch plate, a big set hatch plate, and the bullets are going through it. The hatch plate goes down, but the bombing knocker doesn't kick in. So she's like, she slides down the top of the war rig, opens up this circular thing again, and flicks it on, and Octobos gets dragged into this, and he gets fucking minced, gone everywhere. But the ribbons are still hanging off the back there. She looks down, and there's the war pup. There's a bullet through his head. And he's just lying there amongst the cabbages and stuff. There's a supply run and all that, like. But it is absolutely fucking tremendous. It is one of it's the big action set piece of the movie. But the movie has got many, many more. But that is the big central piece, right in the centre of the film as it transpires. But she will then meet and form a bond with Tom Burke's Praetorian Jack. She fights alongside him during that sequence, but then at the end of it, like, she's like, stop this, stop it now, the war rig, stop now and get out, because she's trying to make a getaway. She's trying to go back to the green place. She's got the thing tattooed, the map on her arm. She wants to go back there, and he's like, fuck you. Another fight transpires, and he managed to slam the brakes on, and he outwits her and kicks her out and drives off and leaves her stranded in the desert. And you're like, shit, what are you gonna do now? He walks back down the road to her. So like, you're fucking great, you know. You can go far. You're great, but you can't be better. I'm making all these lines up, like, what is it you want? I can train you. I can give you all the skills you need to get where you're going. Because he realised she's a stowaway. So she's trying to obviously hijack the rig and fuck off at some point. So he's like, look, I can train you, give you all the skills you need to get where you need to go. But first of all, I've lost my convoy. I've lost all of my crew. I need you to help me get that back together, and I'll give you all the skills you need. So that's what happens. So that's the next chapter. The film is chapterized, of course, as we know. And so you'll get a bit of a montage of her learning stuff. I think you do anyway. But she goes up again. She becomes like his companion when they go out on these runs to Gastown or Bullet Farm or wherever. She'll be riding shotgun, literally shotgun with a sawn-off shotgun. He will get all the equipment she needs and train it up. But the two of them will form a huge bond together. And you'll see them on the side of these dreamy shots of the high up echelons of the Citadel, the twin-peaked monument in the middle of the desert. And they'll have this little moment. He'll talk about his parents, and she'll talk about, you know, he's like, where is he trying to go? You're trying to go home. What is it you're after? And she will do the thing with him, the heads together, and you're like, it's star-crossed lovers. They are brought together through adversity, and they will be together. Now, lest we've forgotten, Dementus has gone fucking apeshit. They get sent out again, a supply run to gas. They want to get gas from Gastown. They go in there. These locations are huge, by the way, huge, populated by huge amounts of extras as well. And they go in there with war boys and pursuit vehicles and, you know, convoy protection and all that. And they give all the food to all these people, but there's a riot taking place, and suddenly the war boys are getting attacked. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Dementus rides up and he's like, look, you know, it's all got to ratchets here. These people think that you are reneging on stuff. We're being swindled, and like they're blaming me, they're blaming you, and like, well, gotta get this sorted out. And like, well, no, we haven't done fucking nothing wrong. What you on about? He's like, look, war boys are getting picked up. It's getting volatile, hugely volatile. So look, if you want to get out of here, follow me. So he leads them out, and they get no gasoline. They're meant to fill their tanks full of gasoline back for the Citadel. They get nothing. They get chased out of town. But Dementus says, look, this ain't working. This is not working. I want a meeting of all the warlords, which would be himself, Immortan Joe, the Bullet Farmer, and the People Eater. High noon, 3 days from now, Citadel. And they go, look, okay, you can guarantee that? Well, yeah, I'll tell him. Yeah, I'll tell him. 3 days from now, Citadel, yeah. So off they go. They go back and they've got nothing. They've lost some war boys and the tanks are empty. So you've got like, well, the other warlords are there, the Bullet Farmer and People Eater, and they're telling, look, we've got to fight. This guy's a fucking lunatic. We can't let him get away with this. So, okay, 3 days from now, right? All right, we'll work this out. Now, okay, let's fuck this guy over because he's a twat. And right, you guys, meaning Praetorian Jack, Furiosa, and your mob, go to Bullet Town, get every weapon, every bullet, every caliber, everything you can, and we're gonna fight this bastard. So off they go. With a little, and now things change in the sort of the hierarchy. It's almost like Praetorian Jack knows that this is not going to go well, or that he's sensing something, and like him and Furiosa are now pretty close together. He's given the sawn-off shotgun as well. Like you might need this, the boomstick and all that, like, which is of course from Mad Max. And he's right, you take that, and but I want you to ride a pursuit vehicle. She's like, what? Not in the rig? Yeah. Pursuit vehicle, yeah. You bring up the rear, pursuit vehicle, and he brings up one of the war boys to sit in the cab, well, to drive the war rig. You've been promoted, you're driving this, and this guy's like, fucking yeah, it's great. I kick the second engine in now. He's like, whoa, let's see what it can do. And they arrive at the Bullet Farm, because they're going to the Bullet Farm to get all the armaments to fight, Dementus. And they get in, the gate rides up, and drive in there. And this is our first time seeing Bullet Farm, and it is a great big deep sort of circular hole in the ground with just channels cut in and all that. Like there's all sort of machinery and chimneys and things like, but it's a deep sort of gorge, and they drive in there. But where is everybody? Remember the dogs I told you about, Dementus? And you see this fucking dog coming out, like it's got like a human ankle and foot in its gob, and Tom Burke, Praetorian Jack, realizes it just because it's like shit. And next thing, the ambush takes place, because what's happened is that Dementus has took over this place. He's took over the Bullet Farm already behind their backs, knowing they go out there, and he's ambushed them. All hell breaks loose. Everyone gets killed. Driving a pursuit vehicle, Furiosa is able to get away, but the other vehicle gets crushed in the great big massive portcullis, which we've got one at Kilt-Man, comes down and spears this vehicle, and they're fucking killed. But she manages to get away, but doesn't drive too far, because no, a fella's stuck behind this, can't get out. You can't drive around it, because it's built on the side of a huge fucking hole in the ground. And he gets out, and oh shit, I forgot what weapon he's got. It might be a Winchester, harking back to Valkyrie from Fury Road. I'm sure it's a Winchester, or a modified Winchester. And he's like, and these guys are fucking He's taking fucking bastards off left, right and centre. But vehicles are going to converge on him. He has to get back in the war rig, but he can't get out. I think he tries to reverse out, but he can't get out. So he fucking powerhouses round, and he has big chases with these big diggers with big swinging buckets and all that, which are trying to fucking lock him off the deck. There's flamethrowers going at him all the time, and Furiosa's watching all this through this big portcullis. Fuck that. She gets in there, she gets the same, well, kind of the same SKS sniper rifle, which her mother had. Her mother had one with wooden stocks. The one she picks up from the bullet farm has plastic stocks on it. I'm just saying, I noticed things like that. And she starts pinging off all these twats. And she's a great shot as well. It's got an optic on it, so she's taking headshots and all that. And so Tom Burke's being chased around this thing. Vehicles are after him all the time, and it's not looking good. You know, how's he going to get back out? He's going down like this descending spiral, and suddenly she sees like Dementus is on a gantry around a chimney. She starts pinging off his wingmen, headshot, and down they're going. And a body's all over this gantry, and he manages to hook it back because it's got a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. So he manages to get that back, drags a man right, so like, where are they? On the ridge there. And he's like, she shoots the guy. He's like, ugh! But he manages to fire one back at her, and she gets fucking blown, and she falls down this fucking chasm, gets covered in sand and all that, like. And you've got Tom Burke still fucking driving around, but he gets knocked over the side, and the whole back end of the war rig is being dragged down the side of this chasm. He's driven through the chimney, which Dementus was on top of, firing the RPG, and he chisels out. He just plows through the bottom half of it, like, and the whole chimney comes down at the same time as this other gantry comes down, dragging the war rig into the same hellish pit. Now, down in the pit are all the denizens, the population. I said about like all these different warlords, enclaves. You've got people that live there as well, who are just, they're slaves, they're subjects, they're the wretched and the wasted, and they're all down there. So they're all been held hostage, and all this stuff's coming down on their heads, literally coming down their heads. So Dementus, his chimney comes down, he's like, oh, he's hanging there precariously, and you've got the war rigs being dragged in precariously. So she manages to get onto a fucking bike, Furiosa, and drive down to him and swing this fucking hook around, which he manages to like leap onto. This is Tom Burke, Praetorian Jack, gets onto that. They survive. They drive up out of the place, get to the portcullis, bike won't go through, climb through it, get in the pursuit vehicle, and fuck off. There's 2 motorbikes on the back of it. What I should have said before was, when he said to her, you're driving the pursuit vehicle, there's 2 bikes on the back of that. It was the getaway. The 2 of them were going to go away into the wild blue. And, well, that doesn't happen. The 2 bikes on the back, but that was their escape route. Whatever's going to happen here, we're going to fuck off in that vehicle, then ditch that and drive the bikes. That's what we're going to do. So they've escaped from the ambush in the bullet farm. Which is playing right now. This is the bullet farm sequence, by the way. And the Dementus goes fucking demented. No! And he's got like a vehicle, a monster truck. The fucking tyres are, you know, they're up to halfway up the Empire State Building. Couldn't think of a high-rise building then for some reason. And he's like, again, like the vehicle that Immortan Joe drives in Fury Road. So these things, and he can't get through the gate. Don't worry, he pushes all the wreckage of vehicles there, pushes them against it, and then makes a ramp. So he drives up it and knocks the entire gate down, and then he's out there and of course his hordes follow after him. If you look closely, a couple of the bikers fall off on that and get driven over by their comrades. A nice little horrible touch, but nice to find. Big chase sequence in the desert again, and this is a fabulous chase sequence, and he's gaining on them all the time. They manage to go, they can't go up this huge cliff, so they drive miles around it, but of course with his big wheels, he's like, oh, I'm fucking going up this, and he does, gets up and catches up with them. And this is where the arm sequence takes place. He catches up big time. Machine gun fire. There's some sniper fire from Tom Beck. A couple of the other sort of sub-lieutenants are taken out. But Dementus is still giving it loads. And she gets her arm crushed. Furiosa's driving. Gets her arm crushed between two vehicles. Doesn't come off at that stage. But gets her arm crushed. But she still manages to drive. But you can see, you know, Anya Taylor-Joy's eyes aren't gonna lie. She's acting through her eyes. So she's like, the eyes are even bigger. She's like, oh, fucking arm's fucking killing me. But he drives up on top of them as well. Them big monster wheels. The two bikes have fucking flown through thousands of feet through the air. And it overturns and they crash into a crevice. And everyone descends upon them. This one's alive. Good. Bring it over here. He doesn't know that it's little D. Little Dementus. The child he took in as his surrogate daughter. He doesn't know it's her. Years have passed. And this is the great scene from the trailers. And it's a great scene in the movie. They're both knackered. Tom Beck and Anya Taylor-Joy are just fucking done in like that. They haven't got anywhere. You know, did you see how these two fought for each other? Look, they fought for each other. Look at that. You know, where were you going? So full of hope. There is no hope. There's no hope for them, for you. I say not for me. Sorry, that's wasteland sand in my throat there. So that, you know, but you've done this to me now. You've ruined all my chances, all my hopes. Well, there's got to be retribution. Justice and retribution. Now, we've seen what he can do, torture-wise and atrocity-wise. This one, string her up. And they string her up by the knackered arm as well. The bad arm has been crushed. They string her up. And if you notice, she's able to keep part of her foot on the ground as well. If you weren't able to keep a foot on the ground, you would be in absolute agony. The whole thing about crucifixion or hanging someone is gravity. If you can keep something down there, you can alleviate it. I'm not saying it's, you don't want either option really, but that is the lesser of two evils. And I want to do with Praetorian Jack. You chain him up, and you think it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be hung, drawn, and quartered again, like, but no, it's not. They drag him behind a vehicle, about the motorway, round and round and round and round and round he goes, running, and he falls over, and he's being dragged endlessly, and then Dementus lets his dogs loose, and the dogs follow the offal, who's still alive, and you don't see this, folks. You don't see it, but it's really, really horribly implied. He's food on the hoof. You know, it's Meals on Wheels, and he's devoured, shredded on the deck and devoured. But it goes on all night long. She's hanging there again, forced to watch a loved one die really horribly, and you know, piquant. Zesty would be her tears, and but Dementus gets bored. He's like, oh my god, it's night's got, and they kicked up a storm, you know, with the sand. It's a big dust cloud because of this relentless driving around. So it's like, those who want to go home, you know, it's over. And they come down to find her, but she ain't there. or rather, not all of it is there. There's just an arm hanging there. Another hark back to Mad Max, the first one, when Condalini throws a chain at Jessie, Mad Max's wife's Land Cruiser, with the Sprog, their baby, and their dog in it. And he throws a chain, but she just drives on past, and he gets whipped off his feet, but he loses his hand, prompting the line from Hugh Key's Burner's toe cutter. That there is Condalini, and Condalini wants his hand back. Brilliant. So another limb loss, and the arm's just hanging there, and he's like, no, pure fucking rage. They go after it. She's nicked one of their bikes. She's also one of his big monster wheels. She's uncoupled that, so when he drives up, it comes up. It's like, oh! Again, this is a trick you've seen her do right from the word go. Sabotaging vehicles and motorbikes. She's done it right from the air escape or air capture at the start of the movie. She's done it every single time. Done it again now. It's like, ah! So off she goes on a bike, driving with basically one arm, well certainly one hand. And she goes past the Mad Max cameo appearance. Yes, folks. Mad Max is in this movie. Yeah. It's not Mel Gibson, no. It's not Tom Hardy, no. But it is Tom Hardy's stunt double. Fuck it. I always forget this guy's name. And you watch, I can't find it now again. Jacob Tamori. Jacob Tamori is Tom Hardy's regular stunt double. Now, think of the initial poster for Fury Road. The Interceptor on a big yellow promontory overlooking a huge canyon valley, and Max standing there with his back to us, looking like he's having a piss. I never liked that poster because it looks like he's having a piss. Simple as. And this cameo does look like that sequence, with a couple of exceptions. One, he's leaning against the Interceptor at the time, not standing away from it, although he does move away, and he eats from a can, which surely is Dinky D, the cans of dog food he has in Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. He leans away, he's watching Furiosa struggling. The bike's collapsed now, and she's now just that arm's severed, and she's wandering off into the desert. The Citadel is in the distance. The Citadel, you can see it in the distance, and Max is stood there watching. Now, many people have been saying about like, oh no, see, that's how it ties in. No, it's just George Miller doing another little trick of his, you know, to make you think it's not. This is set way before Mad Max Fury Road, way before. Max in this, Tamori, has got short hair, not the long hair that Tom Hardy has, and the fucking Interceptor is turned the other way around. Although cleverly, what they've done in that poster and the opening of, sorry, not just the poster, it is the opening of Mad Max Fury Road. The door is open and all his belongings are spewed out the back, almost like the car has thrown up. You know, I don't like that poster. I don't like that image. It does look wrong to me. And then of course the war boys go after him, and he has to with Max's narration, fucking throws all the stuff in and drives off. And then he gets caught straight away and thundersticked to hell and back and captured. So it's just a little play. Now, the thing is, people are going like, well, she collapses in the desert and she gets dragged back to the Citadel, and the wretched underneath drag her in and try to look after her in a cesspit, a warren of people, almost like a human abattoir, of people hanging there, body parts are hanging there. You've got old crones who are feeding maggots to treat her wounds and all that. And she wakes up and she drags herself away and gets back, well, we'll come on to that, but drags herself out of there. But you've got this old crone going, no, stay here, we can look after you, you can be safe here. And people will be saying, that's Miss Giddy from Fury Road. Well, who looked after the wives? And no, and you see her a couple of times in the movie, and she's great. Jennifer Hagen plays Miss Giddy. That's not her in that Warren. She's a different character altogether. But who dragged her back to the Citadel? Well, that's a huge bone of conjecture now, because I think it's firmly implied that Max, standing on there, that big promontory, overlooking all this, can see this lone woman with one arm dragging herself, towards that place, that he's took her back. Although, when you think about it, why would he do that? He doesn't really care. He's not involved in this yet. And you would think that in Fury Road, you might think, hang on a minute, you do look somewhat... Don't forget, she's still got hair. She's still got long hair. She's cut her hair off beforehand and then grown it back again in the Citadel. So he's like, you would think, even though you've got long hair right now, sorry, in Fury Road, you've got no hair again. Fucking hell. The leapfrog from hair to no hair to no hair to hair. And oh, fucking hell. You think, well, you had no... I met a girl with one arm half severed, and you've got this robotic arm. In fact, when you first meet her, she's only got the severed arm, and you would think he'd put two and two together. Didn't we meet? Tom Hardy would say, mumble. Didn't we meet? Maybe we did. But no. So you're meant to think, it's implied that Max does it, that Max takes it back. Although, when you really think about it, why would he be asked? Does it really matter? And it throws up a lot more. It's a nice bit of fan conjecture. But George Miller knows that fans are going to do that. So he's done it on purpose. But it doesn't mean that that's who it is. Another idea that I had was that maybe it's History Man. History Man, the narrator who knows everything, he knows all the facts of life and all that, like the compound, elements of tears, engines, and all this kind of shit, like satellites. He knows everything. That maybe it's him, because he defects from Dementus' mob to Immortan Joe's for probably his own motivations and reasons, but we don't see him defect. We see him later on with Immortan Joe's armies of war boys and Rictus and Erectus. We see that later on in the 40 Days Wasteland War. But did he do it then? Did he realise and drag her back? His own defection was linked to that. I can come down on both sides. It's nice to think, oh, Max did this, but we've got absolutely no proof of that. No one can come out and say this. George Miller doesn't give two shits about it. He just make up your own mind. History Man easily could have done this. I know he's an old guy, but it's a fable. It's mythology. He could drag her back. The wretched from the Citadel have not gone out that far and found it and dragged her back. They haven't done that. I refuse to believe that one. But anyway, someone did, but she gets out of this warren, but she also knows what's happened and the ambush that Dementus did. So she gets in, the big elevator comes down, and she's there minus an arm, and she's like, "I'm Imperator Furiosa," or Praetorian, I think it is at that time, Praetorian Furiosa, and they're going like, "You're Furiosa?" Yeah. It's like, yeah. What the hell happened to you? Like, I've got to see Immortan Joe now. And she tells him, look, he's got bullet farm, he's got gas town. Like, for fuck's sake, he's gonna come on here next. We know, but he's got these other tactics as well, which I have now forgotten. But he's got other ideas how he's going to take out grappling hook. They've got grappling hooks and all sorts. Now you don't quite see that. He has got grappling hooks in the machinery in his vehicles. There are grappling hooks. But I don't see how she works that out. I don't know. No, can't think of it. But so she tells him, look, he's not going to attack here. No, look, And they're watching with binoculars and telescopes, and there's smoke billowing from Gastown. He's blown up Gastown. Yeah, right, okay. Got to remind you now that during his first détente, his negotiations, Dementus did say, and he had his mate Smeg, look, we've rigged up Gastown to blow up, and I've got a little device here with a 6-figure code on it, and only I know it. So he's got the guy with the arrow, the harpoon to the back of his head, who gets the harpoon through his head. You've got to, if you don't agree to this, I'm going to blow the whole place. So he forces Immortan Joe's hand there, and suddenly you're seeing smoke rising from Gastown. He's blown Gastown. Nah, that's got to be a ruse. It's got to be a ruse. It's just a decoy. He went down there. Well, no, let it blow. It says, hey, let it blow. It says Rictus or whoever. And they go, no, it would take generations to rebuild it. We can't afford that to happen. So, like, you've got several plans. You've got the idiot's plan, you've got the brave plan, you've got the warrior's plan, whatever it is. Like, and then Immortan Joe goes, no. Then you got my plan. So, and like, what they do, they send out a decoy heading towards Gastown, knowing, but it's only a small contingent of war boys. That's all it is, really. But it kicks up a dust storm, right? They think we're going to go there and empty out the Citadel. So he's going to come here and take the Citadel as well, with all his hordes, which is exactly what Dementus is trying to do. It don't work. No. It's only a small bunch of war boys, but they see the dust cloud and they're going, yeah. I've got utter contempt for him. He fell for that. How gullible can you be? Dementus, fucking great. But what happens is the 40 days Wasteland War, which you only see in a montage. A montage very similar to Road Warrior, where you've got all the people who were sent out to find a fat rig big enough to haul that fat tank of gas from the Gucci Arabs, and he's caught them all. Max is infiltrated there, and they've got people strung up, and they're burning them alive. They're crucified, and it's nasty as hell. And it's like but rain's coming down, and you've got a montage of all his biker warriors fucking turning circles in the dirt and all that. In the mud because the rain's coming down. I found them. Lord Humongous keeps on, the mantra. It's very similar to that. You get the 40 days Wasteland War. As you've seen carnage and the remnants of battle, the wreckage, and the detritus of war. And in the meantime, Furiosa has look, she's once again cut her hair off. I've got to say, she has a pepper pot, Apache pepper pot revolver, which is an amazing weapon. It's a knife, a revolver, and a knuckle duster, all rolled into one. It's a real weapon from the 1890s, I think it was. And wow, to see it. Now she cuts her hair off with the knife, and then puts the grease over her head. I want a vehicle. And all the mechanics are going apart from the organic mechanic, they're going no, we haven't got any. Everything's out there. There's nothing left. But you've got this guy, Chum Bucket or Toe Snot. I don't forget his fucking name. Bum Grease. I don't know what his name is. He's like, I've got a vehicle. Yeah. And it's this little fucking shed on wheels. It's only got 3 wheels. It's just going on the whatever you call that thing without the wheel on it. I don't drive. I don't know what they are. But she goes, I'll take it. So off she drives, and she drives to the front line, and Rictus and Scrotus and History Man is now with them. They've got this great souped up vehicle, but they're trying to find another wheel for it. And they go, maybe that one will do it. And she rolls up in this fucking thing, which is grinding half on the ground. And so they're like, found a wheel, Rictus, this wheel will work. And Scrotus is going I'm going after Dementus. They've defeated Dementus, and Dementus is now on the run with only a few people left. That's all it is. So they're going to go after him across the wasteland, and so Croesus like, I want this. He's the one that leather kilt, and he's got all like leprous scabs all around his head and all that. Like the one who played Slit in Fury Road, and he's like, no, like Rictus is going like, I want to go with you. Big muscle bound Nathan Jones. He's going like, no, you stay here. No, you just slow me down, which is a direct quote from Fury Road, because he says that in Fury Road as well as a different character. So, but in the meantime, they put the wheel on this vehicle, this big souped up vehicle, which is fucking awesome. But Furiosa's taken it and fucked off, and they're like, oh shit. And off she's gone in pursuit of Dementus. Dementus is now with only about 4 or 5 other people, including Smeg, including the one with the twisted mouth and all that, and a couple of the guys. Oh, One Eye. Rizdale Pell, yeah, who plays Dementus as well. Important Joe. And she pursues them night and day. And here, folks, is the exact thing which ties this back into Mad Max 1979. Mad Max is a revenge thriller. Furiosa is a revenge thriller. The other Mad Max movies are not revenge thrillers at all. They are action adventures. They are fantasies. I wish you'd stop interrupting me. We'll play that when we get to your bit, if you don't mind. They're action adventure dramas, you know, and but Mad Max and this are vengeance fueled, and you have the biker horde like you have in Mad Max. You have atrocities committed like in Mad Max, and you have your main character losing their nearest and dearest, the people they love, in atrocious circumstances, and they're there. They witness some of it. I know he doesn't witness Jim Goose getting immolated, but he does see his mate still alive, but barbecued. He does see that. So Mad Max ends with Max getting the intercept of the black on black, and going out after Toe Cutter's gang and taking them out one by one, or sometimes several at a time. But that's how the film ends, and that is how this film ends. She goes out to get revenge on Dementus and all those who are still with him, and she will take them all out. There's sniper shots, there's all sorts of stuff going on. They try to work out who's following us, who's pursuing us. It's just one vehicle. And again, you have another terrific line. Cheers, folks. Which I'm bound to get wrong. Because who is it? What did he want? And like, he realizes they want me. They want to kill my crew and get me. So no time for long goodbyes. We've done mighty things. Goodbye. And off he goes, seemingly. Now don't forget, like, we know he rides the chariots and all that, like. So Furiosa comes over the crest. Another couple get banged out, and she pursues. They all go in different directions. She's like, oh shit, well, that's gotta be Dementus. I'm going after him. And of course, it's not Dementus. And you get the mangled mouth woman as well, and she gets fucking collided with, straddles Furiosa's big, you know, I don't know what kind of jalopy it is, but it's hyper powered. It's pure like 1950s sort of rock and roll style vehicle. It is like what Nux drives in Fury Road, very similar sort of vehicle. But my God, it can move, it can shift like fuck. And she's there. I kind of wanted her to get fucking speed through the head or her head blown off, but she hangs on for a bit trying to get to Furiosa, but doesn't quite make it, and then just disappears, cascaded off into the background. But I'd like to have seen her die. And then she meets Smeg, who's dressed as Furiosa. Furiosa has that white cape, the white cape that becomes red, you've got that war boy who fires the flare, and they're trying to work out what the flare is. You go into where? Citadel or Waterdale? What does it do? It's like sky flowers. You know, what? It's signals that they use, and one of Dementus' henchmen fires it into the ground. Red comes up, and it submerges Dementus in red. And it turns his red cape, which is like a curtain veil, really, not a cape. It turns it red, and Furiosa has dreams and nightmares of him bedecked in red, like a hellish vision. So that's why his cape goes red. And I know I should have said that before, but I forgot, didn't I? But she's pursuing a guy with a red cape, with a chariot, and he goes over the edge of a sand dune into a huge fucking sand pit, sucking sand. But he's thrown off the cape and it's landed on the windshield of the jalopy she's driving. There clearly isn't him. And she gets to the edge, almost goes over the edge, manages to reverse. But you see him get sucked down to the sand. He's like, oh, that's it, gone. Right, fucking swim back round. I'm after you. And she will get him. She will find him. He will try to have a rest on his, well, next to his bike. He's got a tarpaulin over him, like, but he wakes up in the morning on a sand dune. The water's gone. Oh, it's been slit. Shit. How'd that happen? Where's one of the wheels of his bike's gone missing? And he comes out like, and there she is, silhouetted on the sand dune. And he's like, "You found me." And she walks off. And what culminates is a very slow, poetically nightmarish standoff between the two of them. She will taunt him, she'll pursue him while he walks and runs on foot. He'll throw his gun. He has an old Civil War weapon, a 9-shot revolver. Did I write this down? I may have done. A LeMat 9-round revolver. This is a revolver which was so big it actually could be housed beneath a pump-action shotgun underneath. Yeah, they could do that. I like the way that the film has done this. It's brought in vintage weapons like her Apache pepperbox revolver with the knuckle duster and the knife. That's a real weapon. It looks like, it's like, what the hell have you done there? It's a real weapon from the 18th century, well, late 19th century. And the same with his gun has been like that, a 9-shot revolver. Anyway, she catches up with him. She beats the shit out of him. She chains him up. She clubs him several times, pistol whips him, does all sorts. And but he will retaliate verbally because he's got, as he tells her, a very high pain threshold. And she is clubbing him something chronic, you know, with weapons and with a prosthetic arm. Shit, did I even mention that she built a prosthetic arm? I didn't, did I? During that whole, she goes back to the Citadel and tells everyone he's going to come at you with an army and grappling hooks and all sorts. And Gastown's on fire. She doesn't just get a new car, she builds herself a prosthetic arm. How did I forget that? Oh well, whatever. Look at Charlize Theron looking at me like that, you idiot. But she does that. And but she beats him to a pulp. And he says that, you know, we're the same, you know, you're little because he doesn't know it's her. And then she pulls the mask off her face and, like, you know, remember me. And it's like, little D, little Dementus. And but I looked after you and all this, like, but we're the same. Do you really think that what you've witnessed that I did and you killing me is going to make you feel any better? I'm paraphrasing here, but it's not going to make you feel any better. We're the same. We have to go through this. we've both witnessed the worst things. We've lost the people we love in the most horrific circumstances, because he means his own family. And so we've got to keep, we're dead, we're already dead. We've got to keep ourselves alive by having sensations of, well, in his case, it's atrocity and murder and what have you. You know, it's just, but you've got to do increasingly more to make yourself still feel alive, to try and forget the hurt and the pain you're feeling. And, you know, it's not, that is not a lie. That people have done this. This is what a lot of murderers, you know, use as their excuses, maybe. But psychologists will argue that that is what they are doing. They're masking their own pain by inflicting it upon others. And it works here in a very operatic, sort of pantomimic sort of way. He's still funny throughout this entire sequence where she's battering him and taunting him. But it can only end one way. Or can it? Because despite him saying it, we're the same. We're both the same. We're both demons of the wasteland. You know, we're never going to be happy. We're never going to find what we want. And of course, find what she wants. She's lost the map to the green place because it was tattooed on that arm, which got lost. Because she's nibbled through, sawed through, bitten through, scratched through that arm while she was hanging there whilst poor Tom Burke was being dragged and eaten to his death. Cheers, John. So he's like, you know, you're going to shoot me, just shoot me, but, you know, tell you what, I'll turn around, you know, because then, you know, the shooter will know when they're going to fire the bullet, but the shootee will not know the exact moment, which, by the way, would be the best way to go, to not know. But she moves around, so the gun's again to his head and all that, like, but she still fucking pistol whips him and gives it loads. I'm like, oh god. It goes on and on and on, but he still keeps taunting her. He fakes a death as well. He's like, he judders, and then collapses. And then she's got a ripcord on that prosthetic limb, and she cuts through the chains that hold the teddy bear. In this case, to his groin, it turns out, and gets that off him, like, and like, he's like, little D and all that, like, because he comes to again, like. And then the narration comes in. She stopped him from talking, and they stayed in silence for the rest of the day. And now, well, let's just see. You know, it will come here. This is the finale.
She took away his voice, and they spent the rest of the day in silence.
She took away his voice, and they spent the rest of the day in silence. Does that mean that she cut his tongue out? You don't see it, but that could well be what it's being implied there. She took away his voice and they spent the rest of the day in silence. Dementus will not be in silence. He's going to be fucking giving it loads. He is Jack Sparrow. He is Max Cady. You know, he's every pantomimic, over-the-top character you can imagine. A heart of gold that has been corrupted and turned blackened and steel and chrome by hatred, rage and anger and, you know, grief. He is, you know, a demented warlord. So to make him shut up, you're going to take his tongue. So I'm presuming that's what they mean.
There are those who prefer that she did more than shoot him.
But you see,
They claim that she ended him in ways more fitting.
you see him dragged behind the vehicle.
Righteous perversities and witty mutilations. But this,
You see him crucified on the tree.
whispered to me by Furiosa herself.
So she could have done all these things to him. She could have shot him. And the image you see is very like Kevin Spacey getting shot in Seven. Yeah, at the end of Seven. You see him dragged behind her car like he did with Tom Burke. You see him crucified to a tree. where obviously horrible desecrations are being committed upon his person abilities. And but as he says, this is what Furiosa said to me. This is History Man speaking now.
Deep in the Citadel, high up in the hydroponic gardens, there is a tree unlike any other. Its soil is human. Its nutrients human. Maggots debriding his necrotic flesh.
What a great line.
It was an echo growing out of a living being.
And of course, the image that you see during that voiceover, we do rise up to this top echelon of one of the Citadel's, gardens, and there is a tree there growing, but it's growing out of Dementus' groin, which in a way is like, because he is like, the big I am, so a big cock of the walk. It's got a big fucking tree, a peach tree, as it turns out, because as she had all the time, the peach stone in her hand, or hiding in her hair, hiding wherever, and they don't say where she put it, but you think about it, where it's grown, and he's alive, they've kept him alive, and it's grown out of him.
As the world falls around us,
here we go again.
how must we brave its cruelties?
With savagery. It's grown out of him, and he's alive. And he's gone grey, but he's still alive. But he can't. He's not talking. So I think that tongue has come out, and it kept him alive because he's propagating this tree. And the finale is that she gets a peach off this tree. It's not for you, and she walks off, and we see into a nice little montage, trailer bait footage of her leading the hostage wives of the Morton Joe, and secreting them through the hidden hatch in the war rig, and driving off. And the film will end because that's the story of Fury Road, which is the end of her saga, and the end of Mad Max's saga as well. But if we ever get to see the Wasteland movie, which was written, the story was written alongside Furiosa when he wrote Fury Road, George Miller, and but let's hope we get to see the Wasteland, which is Mad Max's saga leading up to Fury Road. But she secretes the wives in there, and then the end credits come on, and we get this sort of interspersed with the credits during the first few minutes, scenes from Fury Road, which I thought was great. My son thought it was a little bit awkward because, what if you hadn't seen Fury Road? What if you come into this? And he's right, actually, because people, different generations, are coming to these films without knowing what's gone before. Perhaps, oh, I love this, I want to see that. Oh, it's just showing me, and it does show the entire film in little snapshots. It does show it. So I kind of get what he means, but I thought that was a payoff because we all know Fury Road is the end of the entire thing. There will not be anything beyond that George Miller's involved in. There won't be. TV show, all that spiel of TV show, who the fuck knows? George Miller ain't doing that. He needs to get the Wasteland done. But at the moment, money-wise, box office-wise, Furiosa is not making the money. But none of the films did. None made money initially. None. But they became huge cult classics. If Warner Brothers is going to invest, I don't know, how many million, 170, I don't even know what it is. 270 million, 370 million, I don't fucking know how much it is. But this film cost a lot of money. and it's all up there on the screen. Okay, I've been through the entire plot. I think this film is genius. Genius. All the spoilers have gone through there. It harks back to Mad Max. It harks back to Mad Max 2. It has elements of Beyond Thunderdome, with Bartertown and different warlords and different factions and that, like, and established communities. It has all that, and it has, you know, the chance of hope and prosperity for society. Only Mad Max doesn't have that. Mad Max 2 shows hope because Papagallo's gone, but the feral kid takes over and the gyro captain take over, and okay, you know, Max is left behind, but Max is a loner. But they go on, and he becomes the leader, the chief of the Great Northern Tribe, and it's told with sort of, you know, hope. Hope is a big word in the Fury Road dynasty of this saga. So, and then Beyond Thunderdome, Max becomes very, very humanistic. He's got a sense of humour. He laughs, he jokes, and he looks after the kids. You know, but he still ends up on his own again. Fury Road goes back to sort of Max the Hunter from Mad Max, the first one. The end. He's just a lone guy. I don't give a shit. And Mad Max 2, same sort of thing. I can't get associated with anyone because they all die at some point. So I'm not gonna go down that road. And that makes sense to me. So then you get Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. I don't like the moniker, a Mad Max Saga. I don't like it. I don't think it works because it isn't. It's not a Mad Max Saga. If Mad Max is going to be set up as a long-running sort of genre of its own, with a universe of its own, like Han Solo, what was that? What did he call that shit? Han Solo or Solo, a Star Wars story, or fucking whatever it was. Who cares? Shite anyway. But are they doing that? It does seem to hark back to that sort of thing, and I wish they hadn't done it. Because I think people are still going into this with, whether you know who she is or you don't. Oh, Mad Max. Oh, that's that big franchise. That's that post-apocalyptic Fast and Furious thing, isn't it? All the new generations are coming in and seeing that and going, oh, Mad Max. It means vehicles, and oh yeah, it meant to be good. And they come to watch it and they go like, well, where's this Mad Max character? Don't see it. So it's an awkward one. It is awkward, and I wish they hadn't done it. But the film itself is genius. The editing is fantastic. The cinematography by oh god, who've done it? Simon Duggan is incredible. The CG, for people who are really giving it loads about the CG, it's CG overload. Oh, fuck off. How many films do you watch these days where CG is overloaded and you don't give a shit? People are flocking to like Garfield and If. Visual CG, are you kidding me? What you're forgetting, you naysayers, is that all the stunts are genuine. Everybody who's catapulted through the air and landing on the deck is for real. They're doing that. All that the CG's done is remove the harnesses and the safety apparatus that they're landing on. That's all it's done. Vehicles going under wheels, people colliding with other vehicles, people on fire and falling off high speeding vehicles is all real. The close-ups of the flames are wrong, but the people are on fire in this. They're not going under wheels, but every stunt is a genuine physical stunt with a stunt man or stunt woman, stunt person doing it. The backgrounds and to seek it in and make it match the film itself is CGI enhanced. There are tons of moments where it's very obviously CG. backgrounds embellished, and the camera zooming, I think I said in the previous video, camera zooming through the windshields. That's the cab windows. People in different ways don't call them windshields, do they? But camera going through that is very obviously CG. There are enormous amounts of one-take shots in this. Seemingly one-take shots. I lost count. I literally lost count. Seen it 3 times now, and I still am mesmerised by the dexterity and athleticism of the camera work, cinematography. Now, I'm not kidding. There will be little breaks, little cuts, but you know, technology now can get away with that. But what does that matter? When you're sitting watching it and you're watching vehicles go around, speeding vehicles for minutes on end, and people coming from the air in the same shot and being taken off the tops of a war rig, people being battered, set on fire, going under wheels, all in what looks like one take. That's genius. That's incredible. That is powerful filmmaking. It's visionary. It is. George Miller makes movies for the eye and the soul. He doesn't want you to think about, you know, oh, they said this, they said that. And yet he still comes up with this classic dialogue. But it's not about that. He doesn't even want that. It's archetypes. It's The Man with No Name. This film is Ben-Hur, Lawrence of Arabia, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly especially. And by the way, look what I'm wearing underneath the Mad Max jacket. It's The Good, the Mad, and the Ugly from Fury Road. That, if you're still here, that dog is coming back right now. Let me just check. Oh. My mistake. The dog isn't back. I heard noises. I thought the pooch was on the way back. Well, you're getting loads on this video, aren't you? Loads and loads. But The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly has 3 archetypal characters who go through an odyssey in the desert. They keep meeting, they change allegiances, and finally you get a standoff and a payoff, a vengeance-fueled payoff. And that is the ethos behind Mad Max. Mad Max, the first one, he spends the last 10 minutes, maybe 15, getting his revenge on the gang. This entire movie is her build up for revenge on the people that did her harm. And it works. But you have twisted allegiances. She goes from one tribe to the other. Turn it down a minute. One tribe to the other and forms alliances, then forms another friendship, but loses again. And it all culminates in pure vengeance. It's genius, folks. I love it. I love it. It's archetypal. It's a pure mastery of visual storytelling with some of the greatest imagery that I've seen. This is not Namibia. They filmed Fury Road in Namibia because they couldn't do it because of storms, and the desert in Australia was not what they wanted. So they went to Namibia. They camped to Namibia for Fury Road. Now this is filmed again back in Australia and in only a couple of places. Hayes Town, is it? I think it is, mainly. But the colour timing, everything looks like Fury Road, but even bigger, more beautiful, more eye-catching. These mountain outcrops, you know, they're awesome. They're genuinely awesome, breathtaking to behold. And you want to race out there yourself, you want to do it. There's some shots of, again, the speeding vehicles, the long shots show, you're like, my God, you've done that. One of the best shots in Mad Max 2 shows Max looking at the Gucci Arabs refinery, and he's there, and he's got the gyro captains there, Bruce Spence, and he's going like, all day, all night. They attack, and he's watching one guy on a bike, and you see it through his binoculars, does a leap of over 50, maybe 60 feet across, a crashed chasm of wrecked vehicles, goes over that and over the ramparts of the fortress of the refinery and lands in there. That is a throwaway stunt. That stunt was one of the most amazing stunts that had been ever committed to cinema. And George Miller just did it as like a throwaway through binoculars, as a distance sort of shot. Like, fucking hell. And this film, again, does the same thing. You have so many distant shots of flames going into the cockpits of vehicles, and people falling off the roofs, people going under wheels, vehicles overturning, people coming off bikes left, right and centre. And you see it from a distance. But then you will see these things up close numerous times. But I like his pullback. I like that. Look, I can do these things. I've got these stunt people out there, and they're going to do this right now for your delectation. But I'm going to just show it from, half a mile away, which is what he's doing. It's incredible to behold. Tom Holkenborg's score is amazing in the movie. It's a different kettle of fish, divorced from it, because he scored Fury Road, and Fury Road is one of my favourite soundtracks, favourite modern soundtracks. It's so dynamic, so hyperkinetic, so exciting, exhilarating, moving, but yet genuinely powerful, and it's got that adrenaline kick. His score for Furiosa is different, because a lot of the film is suspenseful build-up, and his score reflects that. There's some great adrenalized rushes to it as well, but not in the same league as Fury Road. But it still works, and in fact it works brilliantly in the movie. So, Anya Taylor-Joy is brilliant. Again, acting with the eyes, but we know that's why he brought it in. The CG to sort of translate her younger self growing in the montage to Anya Taylor-Joy. But it works. That works great. So, CG naysayers, well, it works perfectly well there. Did you even notice that they'd done that from the younger girl to the older Anya Taylor-Joy? Tom Burke, brilliant. The Immortan Joe, fantastic again. People Eater, loads of little details. A snooker table turned into a map of the warring clans, the different locations, the costumes. Fucking hell, just so much bizarrity. The dialogue again is so smart, so piquant and zesty. It is incredible, and it's dominated by Chris Hemsworth, who I will say owns the movie. There are portions where he's not there, but his presence is still felt. And when he comes back, and even when he's chained up and he can't go anywhere, he's going to die, he still owns 10 minutes of footage by just his back chat and his own character dissimulation, and also you're the same as me, and you think killing me is going to make all the pain go away, because she's saying to him you took my mother, you took my childhood, I want them back, I want them back. I get that, but it's also, she must also know he can't possibly give it back. What is he meant to do? Is it a tease? Is it a taunt? I want you to say now how you're going to give back what you took from me, but you can't. But the thing is, he knows that. He says that, hey, I can't give you that back. What am I going to do? You're the same as me. And he still continues to jest and to joke, and he's a clown. He's a wasteland clown, but a powerful one at that. Although he can't keep his tribes together, and I like that as well. You think about how society breaks down, how society was built in the first place It was tribes, it was warlords, it was atrocity. It was, we're going to be stronger and more nasty than you, and then you'll fall under our thrall. That's how society and civilization is built. It's built on blood and broken bones. That's what it's done. Religion comes into it. But hey, we won't talk about that. So the collapse of society, which many foretell, if it does happen, it'll be worse. It'll be worse because the ones who pick up the dregs of society will be the ones that remember, I hated this about people in charge. I'm never going to work for anyone again. I'm never going to do this. But you'll have to do things in order to survive. Someone will always be stronger than you, and the stronger person will take the stronger people, and they will form a huge bullying society which will attack everybody else. And it'll be worse after the fall of civilization. It'll be worse again. I guarantee. If it happens, I guarantee it'll be worse. But what George Miller has evoked with this, the whole Mad Max saga, everything, is actually intrinsically, fundamentally, psychologically, humanistically correct. Because that's what humans do. We're an aberration, and we're nasty, and we will be bullies. And the thing is, if it happens again and we have to rebuild, it will be worse. And it will go through this sort of scenario for generations and generations. And it will take a long time to rebuild. Because we've all been through what society and civilization has, this is right. Politics, government. I mean, it doesn't work. They're all corrupt bastards. And what is Fury Road and Furiosa, Gastown, Bullet Farm, the Citadel, and the roaming hordes? No one is the best. The weird thing about Furiosa is that the Citadel doesn't seem as bad a place as it does in Fury Road. There's a definite hierarchy, but you can work your way through the ranks. It shows you how you can work through the ranks. But it's corrupt, and it ain't good at all. You're getting women and you're impregnating them. You've got your farm of wives. It's wrong, isn't it? I keep hearing what I think is the dog coming back, because the dog puts their keys in the door, and and the drawbridge comes down, and the portcullis goes up. But there's so much more. The Mad Max saga overall does depict the human rise, human fall, and pockets of hope and glory. Yeah, going back to the game there. And it's timeless, because there's, at any point civilization could fall. You don't know it. I don't know it. I doubt it will happen the way that a lot of doom mongers say it will. But if it did, it will go back to tribalism and barbarism. It will. And it will take a much longer time to rise to civilization than you think. Because we know what went before and what caused it all. Food for thought there. And George Miller's done this. George Miller brings it all in. I love this movie. I think it's an incredibly worthy addition to the entire Mad Max saga. It's infinitely better made than Mad Max 79. It's infinitely more dynamic and kinetic than Mad Max Road Warrior. But you could argue that it's still got Mel Gibson, and it's raw, it's immediate, stunts are real, no CG, no map backgrounds, apart from the nuclear fucking explosion. But when the refinery goes up. But Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, beautiful visuals, really powerful visuals. A great story, two stories combined, which don't necessarily work together, But I'm a big lover of Beyond Thunderdome. But it is the family-friendly version, and we never wanted that, did we? And we don't really still want it. But I still love the film. It looks great. Max is great, and anyway, Fury Road is still the greatest action movie probably ever made. It is. It is. It action-wise, because it's so linear and kinetic and almost non-stop. People forget this, that there are lulls in it. Of course there are. Of revelation, and Furiosa gets back to, well, the green place. And it ain't what she thought it was. They'd already gone through the green place, and it's full of them guys on big stilts. What the bird farmers, the air farmers, whatever they're called, and place with all the crows. There's one there. There's a crow just nestling in just over there. And it's a powerful sequence without a doubt, but it's another quieter moment. And like the naysayers of Furiosa are like, oh, there's too many boring bits. What fucking boring bits are you on about? What boring bits? It's chapterized. It does change the narrative of the style of telling a story. That is definitely the dog coming back. So I'm going to have to remove this before all hell breaks loose. Ooh! Roxy! And I've got to give the dog a little post-wasteland snack without breaking dishes. There you go, hon. So, I do apologise for all the massive doggy interruptions throughout this video, and the huge cacophony with that great standee there. By the way, me and my son have bagged the standee for Furiosa, which is actually even bigger again. Where the hell are we going to put that? Oh my god. But Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, gets Kilt-Man's double-thumbed seal of approval. You have the repetitive image of loss of limbs and revenge. She's a noisy bugger, isn't she? And intense vehicular mayhem. No one can do this. George Miller is the only guy that can do this. You have to go and see this movie because it's not making box office, but Warner Brothers do trust him though, they do. What was it, 3,000 Years of Longing is a beautifully visual and powerfully emotive movie. Brilliant. Babe Pig in the City is fucking great as well, Richard of Eastwick. George Miller's a great director, but Mad Max is his thing, without a doubt. And I love the fact that he plays around with what we want. Oh, you want the Interceptor? Well, I've got a feeling if you want to see the Interceptor, you're going to have to see this movie to put money into the coffers so that you can get the Wasteland done. And that's Mad Max's story. That's Mad Max's prequel to Fury Road. And he will be in the Interceptor. Yeah. You only see it last 10 minutes of Mad Max. You see it at the beginning and a little bit in Road Warrior. It's not at all in Bartertown. And you barely see it at all. And it's completely reconfigured in Fury Road. And you see it for like, what? 15 seconds? In Furiosa. We want the black on black. We want the Interceptor. Bring us the Interceptor, George. And we'll be there for you. He might use that as a massive bargaining chip, to be honest. I wouldn't blame him. folks. Whoa, it's a fair bit of whiskey now. Yeah, but I'll sup there. Anyway, for those of you who've stuck through all this video, and I applaud you if you have. I said it's going to be big. It'd be in depth. I'd go through the entire movie and blah blah blah. I will be discussing it even more. There's other facets which I haven't even touched upon in this video. This was the movie itself, and in depth, pure spoilers, and what I think as going through it, what I think about these bits. All the cast are great. Rachel Bassett is awesome. Who doesn't want her as their mother? Oh my god, that's the mother. She's the mother load. The mother. She kicks ass. Amazing, pure sniping. I love the thing. This film has a lot of people, being pursued, and then you've got snipers on ridges, which I love. And then falling back and watching, where are they? The geography and the immensity of the desert and what happens and being pursued. It's conveyed really, really well. I like shit like that. Anyway, listen, folks. I have been over Shelby Kilt-Man, and please, in the meantime, and this ever non-mediocre in between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. I am going to see you all hopefully with less husky interruptions, but what I think about it. The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic? Dementus is the man. He's a badass, he's a barbarian, but I fucking love him, and you will too. His charisma. Chris Hemsworth. This is the best Chris Hemsworth beyond Thor from the original Thor movies and Thor Ragnarok. This is the best, but I feel it's going to go against him. I genuinely feel that it's not working because people aren't seeing it. Why aren't people seeing it? Cost of living and movies going to streaming very quickly. It's the way of the world, it's just happening. But this is a movie that demands to be seen on the big screen with the best sound system possible, because that's what it's about. It's a visual audio extravaganza, ganza. So please, while you can, go and see it. Dogs slurping, music blaring, displays cascading. It's the apocalypse. It's the fucking wasteland. Save it. I'm not here for the gasoline. I'm here for your whiskey. Right, folks. I'm going to the pub. Don't know about you. I'm out of here. Furiosa, a MAD MAX Saga. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Loved every minute. Could see it time and time again. Love it. It blends perfectly with Fury Road. It's ideal.